I'm there, right? But if I have to prep, you don't want me to.
Mark, do you remember a Ken Newman? Oh, the golf course. I got this. Yeah, the how the Mountain Home Golf Course, the story of the Mountain Home Golf Course. Okay.
You guys want to chat for a minute?
Yeah, I'll let you have this one. It's actually John Glaspie, James Brown. Oh no, that's the editor of the Boise Statesman. Yeah. I don't. I haven't read that portion.
They talk about that in there.
No.
No, just about.
The guy.
I got the number. Wanted.
Is that their last?
Write it down.
Yep.
It's 20.509.
Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. Tiffany, please take the roll.
Councilman Harjo,
Present.
Councilwoman Workala,
Present.
Councilman McCarthy,
Present.
Councilman Sanders,
Present.
Mayor Sykes.
President, let the record reflect that we do have a quorum for Thursday, June 25th, 9 a.m. Going to run down to agenda item number 1, action item, deliberation decision to adopt a amended agenda.
Need a motion?
Yes,
Mayor?
please.
Mayor,
Councilwoman Workala?
I make a motion to adopt the amended agenda for today, June 25th, as posted.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Councilwoman Workala?
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy?
Aye.
Councilman Sanders?
Aye.
All right, we're gonna run down to the budget, city council work session. The floor
Yes.
is yours.
Okay. Mayor Council, bear with me. I'm nervous. Weird.
That
Okay.
weird.
I know. Good morning. Is there any recaps from yesterday? Like, did anyone have any quick thoughts we want to before we?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Are you gonna?
Oh, sorry, yep, let the record reflect, I'm suspending the Roberts rules and council fire away.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. So under admin, I know that the URA was mentioning, Alan Berman Solo was mentioning that they were having plans with the additional 2 million that they were saving due to Pioneer's donation. Is that projected to come down through this fiscal year where we need to put it in the budget to utilize? Has that been discussed? Do we know?
The URA's funding is
Been allocated.
The 2 million?
Not,
Well,
not,
Not for the city to use.
The URA's funding is separate from the city, and we enter into agreements with them to reimburse us for projects that are mutually beneficial for the community. With projects like one of the things that they have projected is the power infrastructure for Marathon Cheese expansion. That will be on the URA's side of the fence. It won't be on our budget.
Okay.
Like they'll pay that directly.
I was just checking on that. Thanks.
We haven't had any further
Okay.
discussion with them, but the last discussion we did have with URA before project deployed was that their funds had been set aside for other commitments to expand within their district boundaries.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Councilwoman Workload, can you give me the number of that
Oh, yeah.
grant again? Sorry,
Sure.
I didn't have my stuff up.
Yeah, so the CDFA number is 20.509.
509. Thank you.
And then she also said, Terry also said that she will send the fiscal year 25 and 26 grant agreement when she gets back from NAMPA. So I think there's more coming as well.
Okay. Thank you.
That's for the transit.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, all right, Tiff.
I'll take a little soapbox time
Okay.
while we're waiting for Tiff. We're about to go in a place where it was contentious getting into golf course. It was a mixed vote that put us on a direction. I'm hopeful that my colleagues and I, as we look at this information, keep a couple of things in mind. Studies have shown it. My experience has reinforced it. The surest way to make sure a program fails, a bad plan, or poor implementation. As we go through the materials today, I'm hoping my colleagues and I can take a look at the information being presented and make the decisions necessary to ensure that this move, and this is a shift in programming, make no mistake about it, this new program we're about to launch has everything it needs in order to be successful, so that should it not be, we can point directly to the cause as to why, address it in the manner that it's appropriate so we can get back on a successful course. Part of that responsibility is on us to ensure it has what it needs, responsibility to ensure it's enacted as planned and is successful falls to administration. And I please ask an open-minded approach on the part of the council members as we get through this, because I know it was a split decision that got us here. Thank you.
Councilman Sanders, I appreciate that. Your thoughts on that, and agree with the open-minded, ask for both sides, I think. So I know it's not a, like, as you said, a split decision. Also, yes, aside from all sides. I do have a question, Cap. Last night, and I know that we had the police department here last time, or yesterday, excuse me. I'd like to kind of ask the council their thoughts if they're still in favor of paying off, it's the 9920 line. I understand in the past, it looks like we were around $133,000 each year for payments on that. My ponder is using the money from the Idaho Power Co-op to pay that off, and so that's kind of where I wanted to bring that back up. I and just see the thoughts, if that is the direction we want to go. You know, we have infrastructure topics coming up with water, wastewater, and streets. So I'm just kind of curious if anyone would like to openly discuss that more, or if it's pretty much a
Councilman McCarthy?
Mhm.
9920, is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay. And that is coming from Idaho Power? I didn't know that.
It was my understanding. Is that the way it is, Mayor?
I don't see it in the worksheet.
Just in the budget, like wherever it gets taken from, you guys decide. But obviously
Was that
this-
the intent for this one though? Is that where they were gonna get the money from?
Well, right now, it's just in there.
It's in
Go ahead. Paul.
Mayor and council, the Idaho Power money is in the cash carryover.
Okay.
So when you look at that cash carryover, this worksheet, there's a cash carryover of 1.8 million. That is part of, Idaho Power's in that,
Okay.
that 1.8.
Okay.
So it's in there, and then it's just, doesn't just say Idaho Power anymore. Because once it goes into the city's funds, it's now city funds, not Idaho Power. So it's in your cash carryover, and then it helps with expenditures throughout the budget.
So I had a note that said Idaho Power, so that's why I wasn't sure. And I think, Mayor, you and I had a conversation in the past where that was a thought on that this administration
For
was
this
potentially
year.
proposing. For this year?
Yeah, it was gonna be I was gonna bring it like next time, but then, I just said, like, you know what, let's just let you guys do your budget, figure all that out, so I never brought it forward.
I just, again, wanted to bring up, and Tiffany, I think you want to jump in on this, but
I
I
think
just
there
wanted,
was a comment last night at the conclusion that it was like the Idaho Power money was in there, but I think for clarity, it went in and as carryover. So if you don't spend to pay off the law enforcement building, then it would free up, essentially. You would just be entitled to the payment.
okay.
Right, so like, if you decided not to do the 350,204,
Mhm.
it would just go back on the bottom of the 781, you would just increase what's, in there.
Okay.
So that would go up to the million something.
And again, I just wanted to bring this to the body for clarification because I had notes that comment was made, and so, but when I looked at the budget line going back through, I didn't see any notes on that, so that's why I want to make sure that we're all on the same page and it's understood that how that's getting paid off, so.
Remind me of the value add, paying it off early. Are we seeing a substantial change in interest or anything on that line?
$50,000 worth of interest that would be saved.
So, I don't know.
You got like, if it was paid off in October, the lender, that would show you.
I guess my question to the body is, yes, I'm always in favor of paying off. $1,000 saving interest might be great, but I'm wondering if $350,000 water, wastewater, infrastructure projects that we've been discussing and looking at.
I think I'd like to hold that part of the discussion because we haven't heard from Public Works on their aspects of the budget yet.
Can we put this on a list of things to revisit? Because we are talking about just getting down, and we were assured not later than Monday. We might get to it later today, maybe not. Start going through and trying to focus on some of these lines.
I think Councilman Harjo, you had that.
That's why I'm putting entry on the change log for us.
You ever send that out by chance?
I did not last night. I can send that out here in just a sec. We'll get this updated.
That's all I had right now for recap, but I just wanted to bring that up as I had some questions on that, so. Thank you.
And I'll just a quick comment because we'll go back and revisit it as well. But we're not only just paying it off early. We're actually in a way padding our budget for the following year because we want that payment to make. So that on top of the interest would be part of the consideration I would take a look at in juggling at this point in time, which winds up serving us better. And again, I think we do need to hear from our other utility-based stuff to see the set priority. And that's where this decision may come down to, is how we look at our priorities.
Right.
Ready.
Was trying to give you some extra time, Tiffany.
You don't have any more. You don't have something else? No, you're fine. Okay. All right. I'm gonna take on the beast of the golf course with the help of you all. So I've tried to, so you know where I sit as staff. I've sat with Jake. I've sat with the mayor. I've ping ponged some ideas off Councilman Sanders. I think Harjo as well. And as a staff, and I think I've listened to you guys and kind of heard your side of it. So as we work through some of it today, I would like your help and your guys' knowledge or what you think we should be doing. There was some concern on revenue projections. So I haven't even plugged what is revenue numbers. And I can tell you I've learned a lot in the course of the last several years regarding golf course operations. And I think one of the things I'd like to really focus on is, yes, we have went and sought after other municipalities that may not be comparable in population to us or rates to us specific to the golf course. However, we were able to understand management technique and what worked for those municipalities and how we can implement them that they would maybe work for us to be successful operating it solely on the city side of operations. Okay, so I know there's some comments made like, well, why are we doing it compared to Nampa or Meridian, right? And totally, like, I understand that. But the biggest takeaway was T-sheet management was huge. And you all, I think, can say that we haven't managed our T-sheet well and increased our rounds of golf. And that's how you have to do it. And I believe the rounds of golf initiative and what you all want us to work on as staff needs to come from you and the mayor, is to say, hey, I want you to increase the rounds of golf by 20% every year. What's attainable? Like, we need those numbers from you to be realistic, right? Because if not, you guys are like, well, where'd you get your number? Where's the projection off of? So those are some questions as we work that I've left open-ended to hear back from the body, if that makes sense. I did put in the shared folder a whole bunch of golf stuff, and I titled it Golf Presentation. So I created what is the golf expenditure that is your budget sheet today. It has blanks, so we can open that up, work through that. I did the same for revenue, and I have a whole bunch of other documents that I'll hand out. I have plenty of copies for the audience as well. So you guys can kind of work through that. Go for it.
Sorry to interrupt you.
You're fine.
I don't know where that.
Email?
There's an email from Tiff
I
that
was looking
came.
at what we just pulled up for the 27 budget presentation, and I don't see a document folder.
Oh, right below it.
Yeah, in the body of the email.
Councilman Sanders and I had walked through it and I'd shown him the hyperlink, and he's got the same file with the sub.
Hang tight, Decker. I'll see if.
The budget memo 27 presentation. Yeah.
Am I in the wrong one?
Share. Hang on.
If you hit refresh.
If you hit
I
refresh.
just dumped it this morning. Sorry.
Okay.
Should have said that.
So if you hit refresh, then it should.
10 minutes ago.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Sorry. Should have said that. So as we work through, those are the things we've learned. Managing the T-sheet. And I can show you an example of T-sheet management here specifically. This report, which it's dropped in there, but I will gladly share copies with everybody. These are from a recent golf tournament that we held last year in May, and they're the exact same tournament. I don't know if you So this tournament was held May of 25, which is the second sheet, and we hosted it again in May of 26. And when I speak, I'm not trying to be ill on any employee that we have or how we operate today, but in 25, if we hosted a tournament, we didn't allow public play on the course. We basically, if you were going to host a tournament, from my understanding, and Jake, jump in if I'm off base, if the tournament started at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we didn't allow general public to play, or we didn't even plug general public in between, which isn't managing your tee sheet properly. Again, this is what information I've obtained through the process. So as you guys can see, by allowing in 26 a little bit of understanding of management of a tee sheet, we were able to make additional revenue because we allowed for a general play to come in between and have the knowledge of how to set that. So I do believe the question is why a golf pro? Like, and I think a golf pro is educated to understand how to operate the course. Like, they go to school to understand how to manage a tee sheet, how to plug people in multiple areas of the course, how they should progress throughout the course and things like that. So I do think a golf professional is important to have on site because of the knowledge they bring in how the functionality of the play of golf occurs, if that makes sense.
You're not to interrupt, sorry. On this report that you just sent us, you had stated that, we using allowed public play during, in between. Their numbers, Jake, do you have numbers on how many golfers were actually tournament and how many golfers were non-tournament that day?
I could get that. I should have got that information. I bet we could just kind of back it out a little bit and figure out the math on, because rates haven't changed. But it would just take a quick phone call and I could get that answered.
Curious.
Yeah.
I understand there's a tournament. This is the same tournament.
Is the exact same.
So I guess the question is, was the field for the tournament the same number of players? That's the quick way to figure out the answer to that.
I think Dobbs had, off the top of my head, I think they did have maybe let's say 2 to 4 last year.
So
I know they had a couple add-ons right before the
so essentially not more than 16 players difference in the tournament. So tournament entry was around $80. You're still looking at per person. You're still looking at a increase of about $1,700. The difference between if the two tournament sizes were no more than 16 players apart, that would not be enough players in the tournament to cover the amount of increased revenue on that day. We could burrow down into the specifics and then get that for you. That's the first thing that hit my mind is, were the number of players in the tournament comparable? Same tournament, same time of year, all those are comparable. What was the size of that tournament? If they were not more than 16 more, then I see the change as being a real change.
So and I just want you guys to know, those are the things, like, that's how my brain works, right? Like, let's get a comparable as to what it is, like so that's how I think, and then aiding with you guys of, okay, let's fine tune it down to the tournament numbers. So again, this is just one aspect of how I think we can improve and create that initiative on our side.
So, again, you guys know I don't know golf, but I did have someone who was running a tournament recently come to me and say they were not happy at all that they were pushing people through, because in this individual's mind, they're like, I rented that space for the tournament, and then the pro started like putting people in between my groups of players, and it would just, and this person said that's never was like that before, and it really was frustrating. And so I don't know if there's going to be like an education level, like that's going to be the new standard or something, but that, again, that potentially could drive people away too, right? Because that's what they were used to.
I do know that TJ has always put people out with the tournaments, always, because he communicates with me about it, maintenance.
But I think what I'm hearing Councilman Workless say, not don't only put words in your mouth, but you had a constituent that talked about general play being put in between groups in that tournament play. That I would find unacceptable myself.
Yeah, I agree with that. If it's in between the group, so yeah.
Most locations, Jenny, that I've been around in all my years, and I've been playing this game since, I won't say last century, way back in the last century. Tournament goes on the course. Most courses that are well run block out 1 to 3 tee times behind the last group in that group. And then once the play goes on, then the first couple of groups that are sent out with instructions, they are not to play up on the tournament. They have to keep one hole separate, at least one hole separate between them, so the tournament's not disturbed. But then you do get general play in behind it. Folks aren't, like I've had happen several years in a row, because I'm horrible about booking a tee time. I don't have a group of folks that regularly play with me. I'm a single golfer most times. And I'll show up, but I know that I am subject to whatever's going on the course. So if they hit me out, they can. But when they close the course off completely and they say it's not available until 3 o'clock, but the tournament finishes at 2:30, that's
Right.
so. I do believe if what you described is what they experienced, that's an issue that in the operation of the course needs to be reinforced that doesn't happen.
You know what tournament? Because I know this last weekend, it was a little, it was pretty small.
I don't know if this individual wants their name to be on record, so we can talk about it offline.
Okay.
T, was there another one? Did you have one other?
I
Was
don't-
it the Bass
I
tournament?
have the Bass 26, but I don't have I have their 25, but I didn't get their 26 report. But I'll get it from the intake and get it in the folder, which
That
is
was
another.
one that they were able to add what, 2,500 extra?
Yeah, it was about $2,500 more from one year to the other. And again, in understanding from all agencies, and I'm not an avid golfer. I've just been doing golf for 4 years. So I've learned a lot, truly have. But golf is played at a pace of play too. Like you have a tee sheet, you manage the tee sheet, and so as Councilman Sanders says, or Mark Grubb, if you tee off on hole 1, you should be around and have played several holes within an hour. Like you shouldn't be still lollygagging on hole 3 with your group of friends having a great time. So there is a course of play respectfully in the game in the game of golf that you follow. There's an etiquette. And so I know that we've had people that have played general play and then they decide they want to stop and have lunch back at the course, and now they've jammed up other golfers behind them in course of play as well. So some of it I do think is education of golfers. Again, talking with like the Meridians and the Nampas, they limit some of their charitable tournaments and they go to more of the competitive, which has been talked about with our golf committee to you guys. And I think some of the public is providing some of those other, I think they're pro-am kind of tournaments so that there's a more of a competition level that once it was established in Mountain Home to come back. You have to balance that because on the flip side, you have maintenance. Of every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is gobbled up to tournament play, we're lacking in maintenance then. So you have to kind of the double-edged sword. So anyways, are there any further questions? I can get more data and get the Basque tournament, and there's probably others. Our goal is to kind of do that comparable from 25 to 26. The only comparables I have are 24-25 operations to this year's operations because prior to that, it was contractual in that hybrid scenario. And so operationally, when the city took it on, those are the numbers I'm going to base off of because I know those factually. So as we move, that's where we're going to kind of discuss today. I feel like I'm really just babbling along. I provided in there the resolution of fees. I also have paper copies if people want them because I don't know that we want to increase fees. I don't think that's a discussion to be had at this point, but I think it's information everyone needs to know. We've talked about some different marketing strategies and potentially adjusting the twilight times to provide an incentive for people to want to golf at the heat of the day, potentially. So to offer a twilight earlier in the day to maybe give you a discount to golf at 1 in the afternoon when it's 100 outside. And then scale to what they address as a super twilight, which is then more at the evening hour later in the day. So those are some fee suggestions that we would like to tweak coming out the gate. The other thing is we'd like to get everything rounded to a whole number. My understanding is we have patrons that are tired of leaving nickels and dimes and carrying their change around the golf course. So they'd like us to include the sales tax and I'll get it to a rounded number. So we may come back and ask just to round to get it to a clean dollar for everybody and the twilight adjustments. Any questions so far on that?
I have a question, and I know you brought this up, and I have to kind of go back, but we 100% with Councilman Sanders, the tournaments that the few that I've been in, very much the general play is not in the middle of the tournament. Tournaments that so big that we actually had an A and B team on each hole, so you had 36 foursome teams. So since it was brought up about the tee sheet, I guess, Jake, this kind of be a question for you. Moving forward with that understanding, why, I guess, last year, what was the cause that we just didn't, that we closed down the golf course?
I wouldn't necessarily say we were close. I just think that between Jeff around the golf course, I just think it was just easy. And nothing again. I mean, Jeff just isn't as experienced in that, right? Not saying he wouldn't do it in the future, but he just.
I'm just curious, and I appreciate that because again, it's one of those trying to figure out those spots that, I say fail spots, but those spots where are learning lessons and how we're gonna.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of that stuff right now that goes on in the pro shop the last year or two because there's not an experience that has the knowledge of how that runs and works.
You need something more than the mindset of I'm just going to take a payment. And that was kind of what I think some of the members of council at the time were like, well, we just need someone who will take a customer service transaction and be point of sale and hand you a card key. And I think it takes a little bit more than that. Like I truly value Jeff and everything he's done because he's completely out of his wheelhouse as well as so am I, right? Like I don't know how to run a golf course, but with that said, I think people who are educated, right, that have went to school and learned the dynamics would be able to help us learn along the way too, I guess is what I'm saying. Something to say, I see. You're looking at me, you have something to say.
I was just in my head thinking that if we're not careful, we may wind up finding ourselves comparing what we have against where we think we need to go.
Yep.
And while it's important to have that understanding of where we are now, we're about to introduce the orange to the apple. And with that, knowing we've got places to do things better, part of it is the program we've been running to this point didn't have the capacity or the ability to take up the kinds of things we're about to be discussing. So it's fair to keep history in mind, and it can be instructive. But this is going to be a departure from anything the city has done or attempted to do in a very, very long time. But at the same time, we're mindful of what is going on now and what we've done in the last year. Hoping folks, again, rather than try to compare the two apples, let's take a good look at the orange.
So jumping in right to programming, right? Like, I think that's a benefit that we can have is program the game of golf, the youth, the adults that want to grow the game of golf. Having a staff member on staff that can help us grow that game by instructing it and teaching people. That's how you're going to gain revenue and rounds of golf and rounds of play. So programming was also an initiative out of the Nampa Meridian. was that's how you're going to increase revenue is to program it. Get in schools, get into colleges if you can. Be an instructor at a college, they'll come down and play at your course. Meridian was very creative in BSU, basically their golf course. People pay college to go to a golf class, and the city of Meridian is instructing it with their golf professionals. Not saying that that's something we can do, but I can guarantee you this right now. I think last week we transacted 3 people at the counter that lived in Boise that bought season passes to golf at your golf course. And our staff said, "You drive down here?" They're like, for us to get on the interstate and drive the 40-ish minutes to Mountain Home and to get in and get out and play at your course, absolutely, I'd buy your season pass because they're not getting tee times over in the valley. So I think those are things that we can eventually grow to, right? I'm not saying out the gate we're going to get to teaching the golf instructor course at Boise State by all means, but it's something that we should strive for, and it should be an initiative that you want us as staff to strive for, in my opinion. So, so that talked about tee sheet management, the junior plays, the league plays, those kind of things of why a staff member would be valuable to the thing. So I guess I'll hop in on my team share here and show you what the salary sheet looks like, maybe.
Tiffany, question while you're pulling that up.
Mhm.
Are we, Jake, are we keeping any data? I keep hearing this. We keep having everyone coming from Ada County, Boise, and that. Is there any way that we're actually compiling that data without being so intrusive, you know, for like address and that, but something that you actually have data-wise that you can add to the council?
I
to
don't know if we
backwards?
do
Now,
previous, but
We do not.
we will now with the 4-up system. We'll be able to track that stuff.
How is that tracked by chance with that for?
End of a
zip
question.
code.
Is it the zip code? And that's kind of what I was curious. Again, without getting an address and getting too, you know, intrusive on people's, I'm curious if there'll be like a zip code that'll show that so we can have data that actually says, yes, we had this amount of many, you know, rounds of golf from Ada County or outside of Elmore County. How many season passes are actually resident versus non-resident that. So I think moving forward, I would really appreciate that. So it sounds like that is going to be implemented.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be implemented. Chris has been the one that's been working, and Tiffany with 4-up,
Okay.
getting all that stuff set up. So, but I know that has been talked about, and yeah, it's been talked about. I know.
I just want to make sure that we have that because I don't want to come back next year and then it's, yes, we had all these people, you know, new people from outside Elmore County, but then we have no data to substantiate that. So
And I would agree with that. I think about a year and a half ago, I'd asked for an agenda item to be put on and was seeking information and feedback from council and staff regarding the amount of metrics that we could be capturing versus what we were capturing. And I'm glad the 4-up is going to be a platform for this thing. Jake, staff, like, would you have any interest in having somebody from the council like help define what some of those metering fields would be? I mean, we clearly, like, we're going to need data in the future, and making assumptions about what data can be captured versus knowing what can be configured and what can't.
I think we'd be open to whatever you guys want us to do. Right? Like if you guys want to tell us what you be open for it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all for input and help and guidance along the way, and specifically what data points you all want, right? Like what I think is valuable may not be what you think is valuable. So absolutely.
Yeah.
You're
I mean,
exactly-
I have that list from when I brought this up before. We didn't have 4-up at the time, and Zen wasn't very specific in its configurability. But now that we have the capability to do it, I would be happy to use that as a jumping off point.
be great. Instead of just going by because I hear we have 80 county plates in the parking lot, but then when I go by, I see Elmore County plates a lot. So I'm like, how can we actually, you know, capture this real data?
No, I think that's a plan anyways. I know there's been talks about raising the out of non-resident member, you know, so I know that's, Chris and I have personally had that discussion. How, you know, who's from Elmore County and who's not.
Yeah, some of the other things that that we've in the training gathered is like email addresses. So they'll be able to opt in or out on email and then like mass text stuff. So then you could share some marketing highlights and different things like that. So that's part of the system that we don't currently have. But as your customer and you plug your information, now you may be able to elect to get, hey, welcome to the 4th of July event at Desert Canyon, for instance. So salaries is going to be the probably big question out the gate. This is what I put together, which is basically just your salary sheet. I worked with Jake and the mayor putting it together. The modification would be to add a golf professional in the line. Oh, there.
Councilman Sanders has. Oh, did y'all get one of these? Okay.
I don't need a copy. Though you can have it, Jake. This is the current one. So that's the current one. That's the.
Give that back to Tiffany.
Figure it out. Okay. So I gave you what the current salary sheet, thank you, Sue, was that you have in the mass of all employees that you got in the shared drive, right? And then I've screenshotted, and what's on is the proposed, if you elect to go with this schema of a full-time staff member. We created a job specification as well for a golf maintenance and clubhouse assistant, which that position then aids in the maintenance department, helping in the seasonal time, because we'd be able to hire some seasonal staff within the clubhouse, but it would be a full-time body, which back when we first initially talked about the staffing structure is some of our, again, not to compare the apple to the orange, but I can honestly say I believe some of our fail points today in operations is we have one full-time body trying to run the pro shop or clubhouse entry. And then relying on seasonal or part-time individuals that we bring on to fill in the gap. And that makes it hard. All know people get sick, right? So I do believe to be successful, we need two bodies to work within the pro shop. As a staff member, I believe Jake supports that. And Jake said having a person that splits like a dynamic role inside and outside isn't uncommon in the industry. I very much, somebody asked me, well, who knows a point of sale system and then can go out and pick the range, for instance. And I was like, well, I would say a recreation person could very much do that. As a rec coordinator in the city of Mountain Home, you may be registering kids today, and I'm not trying to compare, but you may be registering kids dealing with the point of sale at the front counter at recreation, and then you may be outlining a soccer field by the end of the day. So I kind of think they're very comparable, as long as it's well addressed in the job specification, which we've drafted up. So I did put in there the lessons at the bottom. You could see that it's an 80-20 split. I full transparency, I don't like percentages because they're anomalies. In the history, they have been why our budget's been kind of a little bit out of whack, because we don't know what that incentive could be, right? So if you're going to give somebody 80% and we're projecting 17,000 in revenue and they make 20,000, you got to find where you're going to get the other money made up at. And so I'm not a big percentage person in that case, because those are anomalies that we can't determine.
Tiffany, will all these positions here on the proposed structure, will they all answer to the golf course superintendent?
Yes.
Yeah, the hierarchy would be to Jake.
I agree with that, but I also would say that the pro and me would be like, right? Like,
So-
I'm not going to make any decisions without talking to the pro.
The only thing what I could see is let's say I was the 6-month maintenance, 6-month clubhouse person, right? who do I go to? Am I gonna go to Jake to tell me to go pick out balls? Am I gonna go to Chris to tell me to go bring in customers? Like, how would that flow?
I would say that like working in the pro shop area, then he's fallen under the pro at that time, like what being done there. And then if he's working out on the maintenance side, he'd fall under me, and me and the work together on how that's gonna. I would believe I would believe that me and the pro are gonna be a team. How I would see it, like.
Jake, are you saying you guys would set his schedule? Because here, I think part of the question is, if I'm that employee, how much ad hoc am I going to be pulled between the two of you? If like Chris has all of a sudden has something going on in the tournament that he needs addressed now, but he's out picking the range.
So most golf courses, the range typically falls under the pro shop, which let's say it's Chris is the pro, right? Chris knows that, and Chris has already talked to me about, because right now the maintenance does it, which like this morning I pulled a guy off getting mowing that we needed done. I pulled him off mowing because we had a lot of balls on the range. So before I could mow her, I pulled him and put him on the range. Where Chris knows that typically falls under the pro shop side, which it does. And so I think like anything where it's like, let's say a tournament like you're saying, that's going to be covered on that side first, right? And maintenance will be like what we're doing. And I think the pro, like that position, it's looking more like it would be like let's say a March 22 to let's say like an October for maintenance side, and in the wintertime be more in the pro shop because that's when they really struggle with having a not a part-time guy or something, but then let's say on tournaments, Chris and I we just work it out together, say, hey, this weekend we got this tournament, Jeff's with you or whoever's with you in that position goes over there, and then.
So is it fair to say then the answer to Councilman Worklow's question might be, and again, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, that's going to be the quality of coordination between you and the pro as to how that body gets used, and as a result of that, any issues that may come up from that would be something for the mayor to handle under his day-to-day operations piece.
Yeah. Yes. No, you're right. And it's so awkward to talk about this without giving examples, right?
Well-
Because we can't. But I just want to.
The staff member responsible for the department budget is Jake. So Jake then is in turn responsible for the golf professional and all the employees that fall under the Department of Golf.
Understand.
So
But then
he would
also-
assign them.
Yeah.
And I would I want the golf course to succeed as much as anybody, right? So I'm gonna make sure that the pro shop side for the tournament is covered because that's all the people playing golf. That's what they're seeing at the time, right? On tournaments, really what we do is we mow greens, we roll greens, we take out the trash, we do the trash coolers and change cups, and then we're out of there by 10 o'clock. So we are just going in there just to get that general maintenance done ahead of the play, ahead of the tournament. So I would make sure that's covered. So even like, let's just use an example as let's say it's Jeff. Jeff comes in the morning, he mows the greens, and then he shoots over to the clubhouse and he's 4 hours over there on the clubhouse. Like we would just work that out to where that it's successful on both sides. Like if let's just say it's this year, and I'm looking at my staff that I have right now, and if let's say Jeff was added onto my staff in this position, I would have no problem having Jeff over there the whole time on a Saturday morning. He wouldn't even need to be on the maintenance side because we have enough right now to get those few things done on the tournaments, like Saturday, Sunday, where that person could be in the clubhouse. And then the day-to-day when there's not a tournament, it's not as big a deal to have him over there helping out for the pro shop side.
All right, you two, I got a question you're probably not ready for. I'm seeing the current structure and I'm seeing the proposed structure. An increase in the overall salary cost for $35,000. My question is, do you know how many additional man hours that represents? In other words, the total number of hours we're paying for under the current structure is how many man hours? Now, I know the professional level doesn't get to count their overtime per se, but in terms of clock hours that we know, seasonals can only work so many hours. Well, full-time works so many hours by state standard. How many additional hours does this $35,000 bring us, if any? Or is it less hours?
I would say you're not prepared. And I'll take a swag. Bringing on a full-time body to help in maintenance would increase operational hours on the maintenance side to help. So
So comparing the two organizational charts, old and new, where the slots go, we're adding one body.
Yeah.
Are you losing any seasonals?
yeah,
Yes.
we've
Yeah.
reduced the seasonal
You're
line.
reducing
Okay, you're reducing the seasonal, so two seasonals I would equate basically as one new body. How many seasonals lose in the transition?
Two.
Two. So you're gonna pick up one full-time.
Two in the aspect because we took your seasonal from 110 to 65,000 to get.
I would say kind of two. It would, like two would take that because let's take like most of my right now I have two seasonals that are working 40 hours a week for that 8-month seasonal. The rest of the time, like I have one guy that's 4 hours Monday through like 6 days a week, just 4 hours a day. Then I have two high school kids that jumped on, and they're only giving me like 3 months this year, maybe 3 months, at 40 hours a week. So I would say like, I don't know where I'm going.
Well, okay, it was a question you weren't ready for. My bad.
So we would lose though within the clubhouse, Councilman Sanders. If you notice, there was a proposed part-time clubhouse attendant.
Right.
That position was requested in the schema to ensure that we had another staff body to help within the current schema we operate in today.
Mainly
would
for
reduce
winter
that.
months, so.
Let me make it a more global question. Might be easier to sort through. Moving to the program where we're headed. The additional cost in salary will give us the support we need in order for us to have some of the goals we're setting out. In other words, we're not adding to add, we're adding because it's going to make up for itself in the quality of the service provided.
I would say yes on both sides, maintenance and pro shop.
Okay.
Rita, I have a question. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
You're good.
Absolutely no. I'm gonna be the bad guy here. Absolutely no. Pro lesson split 80-20. Absolutely not. If you're gonna be a city employee, you're not getting any perks like that starting off. So the city will get 100% of pro lessons, or I'm not signing my name to this. That was the perk. That was the perk if we were getting a hybrid in, right? You don't get that perk if you're a city employee and you're getting benefits. Mm-mm.
Which, Councilwoman Workla, I don't disagree with you.
Okay.
In my opinion, if your objective is to grow the game of golf, I can tell you though, it's a industry perk to them. And like I kind of volleyed my concerns to Councilman Sanders yesterday in our discussion was if he's going to teach off the clock, what potential labor violations and what other schemas are we going to get ourselves into? And so those are the channels we have to work through, right? If that's the case.
So
Let me
HR, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
My HR red flags are going up for that exact reason that you're bringing up, Tiffany, is how are you going to monitor this? What are the liabilities? All this comes if we have a golf pro that's off the clock. Now we're doing all those. So not to be the bad guy, but this is a very valid point. I think this needs to be very much well taken into consideration.
And it is this discussion that makes me have these brain farts that really hurt at the time, but they come to me and because I'm kind of with Tiffany and with you, Councilman Workla. I hate splits.
Yeah.
They're not readily designed for government. However, we have examples within our system. Having said that, so I'm gonna try to get to the same goal in a manner more that we're more accustomed to. We pay police officers, wastewater people, we pay other employees in this city based on certifications and things they've gained as a result of their work. Would it not then be possible to have incentive pay for the number of lessons provided? And based upon the number of lessons provided and that revenue brought in, a incentive pay level is established to go with it.
And can we put in there, I don't know if this is even illegal, but can we put in there you can't give lessons on your own time, or is that something that we don't have control over? Because, I mean, he could jet ride over to Glen Sterry or something like, hey, on whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you can't control what someone does on their own time.
I think I could give you lessons on the golf course right now. Stop it.
I know, but there's always this conflict of interest, right?
Yeah, and again, your facility is Desert Canyon, and so if you hire a golf pro and he's your employee, he, in sense, should not teach lessons on Desert Canyon in that capacity. Okay?
On time.
Or even
On the clock.
Even or on. Now, if he wants to say, hey, Jake, I'll teach you golf lessons, but we're going to go to Glenn's Ferry. You can't control that. We have no eyes on him.
Sure.
What he does outside of on clock, that's the purview of an employee.
But off the clock, he cannot at Desert Canyon.
You can't control that.
I don't know how you regulate it. Like, I have this, I hear your concern.
I will tell you how we regulate it.
You would just say,
I know.
If I were to catch a city employee using any other city property for their personal betterment,
Mhm.
I'd put them in court. If you're using city property, the course, to feather your own pocket, then you're using city resources and not paying for them. So they're either under contract to use our resources like we do for every other facility in here, or they're committing a criminal act.
Thank you.
It's no different than saying anything example here. I'm just saying in general, HR be like a employee taking a government rig for personal use to go on a trip.
Yeah.
This is what I equate that
Yeah.
to.
That's exactly what it is.
Very good. Thank
What
you.
happens
a
when
music-
another pro comes out here and is teaching lessons?
they shouldn't be unless it's like,
They've got to be a vendor.
yeah, it's got to be like a reciprocal. Like, I know we've had vendors come and they've worked with Jake or they worked with TJ to instruct on the course, and that's not uncommon in the industry, in my understanding and talking to people, but they've worked that out ahead of time.
So, and I like Councilman Sanders' incentive pay. That makes sense.
I think we should go back to
Keeps it
that
clean.
because are we talking about the certificate pays that's for education or training in that, or are we actually you thought about work?
It's performance incentive. That person, when they're on, people have talked about city employees not driven to do anything. What happens when that city employee gets driven to do something for us?
No,
Is there an incentive for him to do that? If so, do we reward that incentive? There's incentive for someone to go get that certificate because they're going to get paid for it.
I mean, this is where the convergence of the topic of, is the golf course an amenity or is the golf course a business? Because the business provides the incentive. The amenity provides for a moderate level of quality of life, but doesn't get to the point where we're driving it as a business. If we're going to drive it as a business, we need to commit to driving it as a business. But here's a real world consumer view of lessons. So say the pro who's got the ability to teach lessons decides to take a lesson from a kid that wants to take lessons at 7:30 at night in the summertime. Got things to do during the day, maybe works a job. He or she wants to take lessons at 7:30 at night. Golf pros already worked the full day by that point. It's off the clock, but like, are we going to offer the service outside of banking hours? I mean, these are, these are aspects around this particular topic. Like we can drive the, shall or shall not, but asking ourselves what the consumer view is on that too. Like if we're going to allow a pro to teach lessons, defining if they're on the clock or on the clock or off the clock is one aspect of the topic, but the consumer view is going to be not everybody is available between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. to take those lessons either. So do we only limit to that, or do you, Jake, run the schedule and go, okay, well, Golf Pro X, you're going to have, 4 lessons this coming week that are after normal business hours. You need to adjust his schedule for those, so the daytime hours are less, so they can be on the clock during that time.
And I think you've done that because you told me one time, you're like, man, he hustled over the weekend, but he can only get his 40 hours in. So you had to manage his hours to make sure he wasn't going over the 40. So
Yeah,
I think you've already are kind of doing that with the weird tournament schedules that create that situation, right?
So is this an issue then, have we discussed about, is this proposed golf pro going to be an exempt employee or?
Right.
He's exempt.
They're
Falls,
exempt?
yeah, he
Yes.
falls in the scale of exempt.
So then that drives back to Councilman Harjo's point of really the 9 to 5 is not necessarily going to play
Right.
into that. And then that's just the understanding, the expectation of the golf pro is it's not necessarily going to be a 9 to 5 position.
I
Mhm.
think that's a given for a golf pro job. They know that. Typically, they work 8 hours a day, anyways.
So I think with that being said, understanding that it's an exempt position or being proposed an exempt position, I'll say, not to speak for the body, I'll say my concerns about the golf lessons split. I think those two things are key with this position. So,
And I would suggest the body for the first year, implementation year, body is not willing to maintain the split, don't. Let it go a year, collect the data on what number of lessons are involved and how much is being done. Let the body revisit it. Suggestion.
Yeah, I for sure that's the guidance we need, right? Like if I brought up the lesson thing because if I was in your seat, that it bothers me on this side, right? Numbers matter. But I also, Councilman Sanders is right. Like if your initiative is to say, hey, welcome to the City of Mountain Home Golf Pro, we want you to increase rounds 12% this year. Get to working. And he or she does that or more by lesson and just sheer hustle, maybe there should be a look at that because that in turn is going back to almost Councilman Harjo's thing. Are you running it as a business or an amenity type of thing? But we all know you need more rounds of golf.
Two different perspectives, as Councilman Harjo clearly pointed out.
Mhm.
The consumer, it's an amenity. But there's nothing in city government, I don't care what department you go into, that we don't constantly talk about running it as a business. So looking at the orange and there's peeling back the skin.
Yeah.
So in this instance, I would say we're going to have an exempt employee. That didn't click in my head completely. In the first year, it's like, because frankly, this body has clearly expressed, if somebody comes back in the RFP and tells us we can get out from under this and save the city $1 million and go forward, it'd be awfully attractive to a number of members on this committee. So let's set it, as we're setting the standard for this first year, let's set it, let's collect the data, let's see what it tells us. And this is a point of contention, so I am not married to the notion of it having to be incentivized. I've worked in I've done a number of state contracts back in the day where Incentives were given to vendors for better performance than the contract required. I've seen employees receive bonuses based upon the additional amount of work over what was required. Perhaps we revisit this conversation a year from now. If we've asked the pro to increase playership by 5%, it comes back at 12. Then I can readdress this issue, because I do think performance matters, and I do think when that performance exceeds expectations in a significant, substantial way, it deserves to be recognized.
If I understand you correctly, you're not opposed to the pro lessons.
Being 100% in the city to the extent that we get them.
I struck through it and removed it off of my spreadsheet. So your new total is $613,153.
Jake, I don't mean to go, sorry, Jake, I don't mean to go back, but we're kind of at that pro lessons, but the seasonal. I'd like to talk to you more about that, because I know you and I have talked in the past about this. Can you give me an update under the current structure, seasonal clubhouse labor and maintenance? How many do we have currently?
So clubhouse, there's Alex. There's 3 right now. We do have another guy that we have hired, but I kind of would exclude him. I think he worked this last pay period. I think he worked twice for like maybe a total of 4 hours. This kind of covered when they needed him.
So there's full-time seasonal, which is Chris and Ryan.
And then
But then Alex is part-time.
He's 19 and a half hours a week.
And the other gentleman, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry.
He would have been his name's, I think his name's Alex.
2 full-time?
I keep getting confused.
3 full-time? And your 1 part-timer is the one that part-time more intermittent.
No, so the part-time employee is 19 and a half hours a week. Which works.
Okay.
Then there's 3 others that were hired as 40 hours a week seasonal. But one of those isn't really working. He's looking for another job. He's gone out. I think last pay period he had maybe 4.
So you,
Sorry,
you have
Jake,
3 seasonal.
3 seasonal.
So you have
total.
3 seasonal, and then the 19 and a half clubhouse attendant, that's what's in your salary schema.
Mhm.
Because to keep a person on in the city of Mountain Home and not conflict with Percy in the 8-month season, they can only work 19 and a half hours. So that's what he's addressing.
I'm throwing it
Sorry.
around different
No,
ways.
I want to
seeing
make
if you
sure
can
I
keep up with
understand
me.
this correct. Your clubhouse, you're on clubhouse. How many full-time clubhouse seasonals do you have?
Full-time clubhouse seasonals, there's 3.
3, and one of them's the, you're saying the,
4-hour week guy.
So-
Or a 4-hour, he doesn't even really work. It's just,
so basically we classify that as intermittent, not, yeah,
yeah,
okay.
but he
But he was
Yeah.
hired as a full-time.
So is that a,
Budgeted for that.
yeah.
Okay. And then you have 1 part-time.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's clubhouse.
Mm-hmm. So
About maintenance.
maintenance, I'd say I have 2. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 guys that are scheduled as 40-hour seasonal,
Part-time.
no part-time.
Okay.
And let me rephrase that. Sorry, rephrase that. 1, 2, because everybody out there is full-time seasonal. They just don't work 40 hours a week.
Okay.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasonals
Maintenance.
for maintenance. But they all don't work 40 hours. Been there like maybe 3.
Thank you.
I think this year, like when we look at the end of this is when we look in October, budget kicks over, I'm gonna be real curious to see where my seasonal's at, because we've been going bare minimum. So I think it's gonna show that, like us cutting the salary back is gonna be good. So I'd be surprised if I don't know where we're at exactly right now. I think last time I was looking at maybe at close to 30,000 views. I'd be surprised by October if we're hitting 60,000. I mean, there are some detailed things that, like little detail stuff that's not getting done on the golf course because of it, but we eventually get to those things. It's just is what it is. For what we have, I think the course is playing pretty good. So
Yeah, it looks currently you're from the June report I got 16,000, almost 16,500, about 48,000 unexpended for your seasonal.
so my two high school guys, they'll be finished up the second week of August.
Then your seasonal hourly, you're at 22,000 with 87,000 unexpended.
My seasonal hourly is gonna show that we didn't use very much this year.
So by my pen and ink calculations, guys, taking the lessons off the list, you're now looking at a total net salary increase of only $21,249.
On the books, yes. But I think it would be important to note, as Jake has said, is pretty low currently on the seasonal hourly and seasonal claims. So just want to keep that.
That we don't realize the total expenditures is a natural function of every year's budget. I'm comparing a program shift. I look at what we've budgeted for and how it's been used against what we're being asked to consider. I look at budget to budget. How they implement it, how they administer it is good on them that if they don't need to use it all, that's their administration piece. I'm asked to look at, am I supplying them what they need to be successful? How they apply that to their success falls within their day-to-day work or ability to get people to work with all those things that come with it.
That's the point. And I think I'm curious with Jake is this another fail or spot when it comes to getting your seasonal? How is the recruitment going for getting seasonal, and when are you usually having an entry date coming
Well, it's not a fail. I had like 50 applications this year for seasonal work.
Okay.
I just didn't hire them because I'm trying to do a bare minimum. Now I'm trying to see what we can do, right? Really, what I'm trying to save on the golf course budget because I want the golf course to, successful, and I want to trying to just be a little more conservative.
But my question, this is back to Councilman Sanders saying, yes, be great for having lower in that, but I'm curious to see about the recruitment because you don't have the staffing to run the golf course that you need. That going to affect overall satisfaction and participation at the golf course, which then would affect our golf rounds and everything. So
I think the clubhouse is fine, and I think we're fine with the maintenance too, right? Like if we wanted the golf course to be a country club size, whatever, looking like that, then yeah, I would say we need more hands on the maintenance side. For being a municipality, city-owned golf course for Canyon and Mountain.
when was the, just a rough estimate, entry date for these seasonals? When are you hiring?
So I typically start one around March 22 is when I try to get like my first guy on to help coming out of winter and stuff. And then I starting to try hiring people in April. But I'll save a couple of those for high school kids, right? Because I want to be able to give some high school jobs. And that's how I started, right? So save those for high school kids, and then school. Sometimes I'll bring them on and they'll work weekends for me before they get out of school or pick the range. That's typically how I start 22.
Councilman, I can tell you, I signed off payroll advice notice, golf course seasonal, beginning with the 28th meeting and then a couple of meetings in April. I had notices come by my desk as part of the action. So
Appreciate that. Again, I'm curious then, is hiring in the, 2 months go by of good weather, or we have a season like this where we have a very dry winter and, optimizing on extended season. That's kind of where I'm wondering, is this another that we're missing out on?
No, I don't think so. I think we're good on the golf maintenance side. I mean, I'm not gonna say I would take whoever I can get and whenever. I think with what I think the pro shop side, I think they're good also. Sometimes I feel like I could probably take one of them somewhere. I think once we grow that no shop, and I think it'll be smoother, and I don't think we're gonna need. In my head, I think with Chris, let's say it's Chris, say that with how I've watched him over the last month or stuff, I think he'll be able to manage that with a few, like 3 seasonals probably. I've just off the top of my head. I think he'll be able to do a really good job of managing that. I mean, TJ do it with minimal people. Chris is in that. He's in that TJ category. You know?
My only question, council, is if he gives lessons, I guess, no, so no incentive for him to get a lesson.
No, we would.
No.
Okay.
Grab the.
He's been really good with the junior kids too. Like stuff. I think it started out at like, I want to say he had like 7 or 10 kids, and then I talked to him the other day. He said he had 17, I think, in it now. I think he helped your kid on the range. He said.
Mayor, staff, and council, in regard to the mindset of abandoning the split, which I am in favor of abandoning the split, but there's some, as Councilman Sanders put it, some incentive in that sense. If this is an expected duty of an exempt full-time employee, is our salary and grading reflecting those duties appropriately under what's been proposed?
Yes.
I think for first time go around,
So his incentive then is the benefits.
as it's been stated in multiple times with the advisory committee that I've seen, and that when the argument comes for going to a city employee is that it's the benefits that are the incentive.
Chris even said that in one of the meetings.
That being
Understood.
said, then I'll comment back on our previous discussions the other day. For all intents and purposes, we're basically saying this is a new position. Anybody that comes into it is going to come in pretty much at the entry level in the first year. But I will remind the council then, with demonstrated competence, an adjustment in the salary would be appropriate.
And that comes down to the administrative action beyond that, which is
Seeing the data we need to prove that that competence has been demonstrated, whether it's in the data or in the feedback we receive from the consumers that use the product.
And one thing that
Incentive
Tiffany
right
and her group is so good at is recognizing when an incentive or a raise needs to happen. So that's, I mean, I don't think that's going to fall by the wayside. I think that's going to be, and leave it to him as well to say, hey, I've hustled this past year. Look at these numbers. What can I potentially get year 2, right? So
It's open to the discussion, but again, it comes back to the data and then where the finances on it. So,
Yeah.
so I don't necessarily want to. I agree with the discussion, but I don't agree that it's an automatic or something of that nature next year.
I think it's a matter of what we've used with all the state employees have done, and even we've seen in our own work where it's, for us, for state employees, I'll speak to my experience with the state. It was your performance report that drove what percentage of a benefit you've got. The state decided to hand out a 7% pay increase. It was done by merit. and they measured merit based off your performance reviews, which I have other issues with, but there was a mechanism in place to recognize competence and performance above expectation in those systems. So anytime somebody comes in brand new square one, it's not unusual. The state didn't negotiate. Right now, I think we've been
Right.
uncannily fortunate with what we've got right now for the price we're paying for it. So
There's many industries where you do not get a raise unless you have billable hours, right? Billable hours meaning you're bringing revenue into the company. So that's what we just have to look at for this first year.
I feel like we're running around here and taking away from your presentation, but
No, it's fine. I'm relaxed now. You're good. Keep going.
be bold and say thank you for this, and short of the lessons, I'm good with that.
And again, there's some action stuff as we progress is to firm up the unknowns in the sheets. We kind of need some direction. So
So I have a question with this proposal of the city golf pro. Has a position description been drafted? Is all of this being an exempt position, all that going to be brought forward to the council just for awareness and everything so that we know this is set?
the job specification itself.
Yep.
Typically the job specs don't come before the body. The job spec has been drafted since we started.
In
This-
a memo, sorry.
Oh,
Something of.
Yeah,
in a
yeah, we
memo
could do that. We could provide both of those forward as a memo, but we would just need clarity and direction today to proceed to get numbers secure for Monday.
Just something that we have to reference so it's not next year of, wait a minute, this wasn't exempt, or
Oh, yeah, no, that's fair.
or
Yeah.
these are the duties that have been listed out, as I know Councilman Sanders has brought up on multiple times, which I'm very much of, we need to define those, so.
Unfortunately, you don't capture every duty, but there's
no.
a fun bullet in there that,
These can be described in addition.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot, but
Right.
Other duties says,
there's a little one that gets you almost in
clause.
everything else. Yeah. So.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
other duties as assigned.
That's exactly-
So are we good on the staffing schema at this point?
Yes, for me.
I have one question. So Jake, in your seasonal that is working very low hours, is that something you intend to, when that position becomes open, fulfill at its maximum usage with the next body that you put in that role, or is that
So-
something you intend to eliminate because he's
Are you talking like on the pro shop side?
on the
or
pro shop
my
side?
I would think that I would sit, let's say whoever the pro is, I would sit with the pro and talk with them and see how that, that's how I would look at it. And if the money's there and we need it, we use it. If the money's not there, then we don't use it.
Right.
That's how I would look at it. I think that's what I would do is I would talk with the pro and just make sure we're on the same page and what he needs.
I'm just looking at the future here. If we're going to be improving the level of service where those hours are going to be necessary, and a body utilizing those hours of service are going to be necessary, like I'm fine to leave that in place. If we're looking at this as a continuing practice of that full-time seasonal role only being utilized at a fraction of their potential, do we need that role? And is that something that we could
Yeah, I would,
conservatively cut?
yeah, I
Or
would think with what because we cut the seasonal a little bit with this from this year. So I think where we're at, what we're doing is fine.
Okay.
I think the only thing that I would really push, and Chris is on the same page, if he gets that job, then look at trying to get some marshals for the course.
Okay.
And that, in my view, I see that, my experience at other golf courses, I see that more as a volunteer. They work marshal for so many hours a week, they get free golf. That's how I would see it, but that would be something obviously that we bring to the council if that was the way. Because the golf course definitely needs, I would say, either marshal slash starter, but we definitely, especially for tournaments and like busy days, we definitely need someone cruise and just making sure people like park art right up next to the
Oh,
green.
Mark.
But you know what I mean, like, or like take our carts out into the desert and Baja 'em, you know.
Right. Right.
So I think that's just I think what you're saying, I think we're fine.
Okay. I'm trying to strike that balance of needs versus, versus conserving, right? If there's a need, I'm fine with leaving it there. But if you had mentioned like maybe we don't necessarily need those hours for this,
Yeah, and I think
I'd approach cutting that.
with making that position the like the person that's going to kind of float between, I
Mhm.
think that will help cover that.
Okay.
So I think
Understood. Thank you.
So,
And I would say I'd lean toward leaving it as is, because if we are, I'll be positive, when we are successful at raising number of rounds, there may be additional workload demands that
Sure.
that person would need to fill.
I would like to point, I know I don't have it linked out in budget, but I do have the all I sent recently. So 24-25 got a budget of 100,000 for the seasonal hourly, which is under the current
Yep.
110. But we went over 8,000, a little over 8,000 on that budget line.
Those were,
It got coded.
we
we
were, yeah,
Fixed it, got coded into the pro shop.
the clubhouse people were coming out of maintenance salary line, unfortunately, for like a few periods in last year's budget.
That's why.
But you're on the right track. Like you budgeted, I see where you're going, and you had $100,000 and you've spent so much, and then this year now you're at bare minimum. You're kind of going from one end of the spectrum to the other.
I think that's, yeah, 100%. And then also off of those of adding is there any wiggle room when it does come to that seasonal to kind of help with that? Again, Councilman Sanders has brought up, we want this to be successful. We need to implement it correctly. I also am still, I don't want to necessarily write a blank check, if that makes sense. I think there has to be a cap. So that's where having this discussion, I appreciate where if you have thoughts of where we can actually cut more mental, I think that would be highly beneficial and valued, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, just bringing the seasonal down to 65, and that's going to be good. And I think, like I said, I think finishing out this, seeing what it looks like, I think.
Well, we had 45 under this structure. It's 45,000 for club and then 65. So that puts you at the 110. And we had current, we have 120. So we really are only cutting 10,000 out under this structure. Seasonal.
The prior structure though was 175 in seasonal hourly though. So in your current operating budget of FY26, it's 100.
10 and 65,000.
Yeah.
65 to 65.
So that's not listed, the 65. Give us on the sheet, just has the seasonal.
Oh, yeah, well, that's 27, but you don't have to.
This is what is in your staff spreadsheet that was presented to you yesterday. So they already had cut seasonal, and I just took whatever they were operating off of and worked with Jake to give another proposal adding the full times.
Okay.
But if you're going back to like the 26 season, it's the 110 that you talked about, and then the 65,000 for a total of 175,000 in season.
So with the seasonal hour, that
I think it's going to be good. Like, I feel good about where we're. I mean, maybe at the end of next year, maybe we're like screwed up. I think what I've seen and how just being in the golf.
so it's necessarily a added on the hour. I want to make sure we're not doing any kind work.
No, I definitely don't.
So as long as this is hours for the golf and something that's added.
No, yeah, this is. I think we're kind of on the bare minimum hour. I'm trying to lean it out a little bit just to easier.
Jake, speaking about leaning it out, you are the only department that pretty much reduced every single line item. Is there anything in here that you question on that maybe?
Where are you going? Are you on expenditures now? Have you moved on without me?
You said you're relaxed.
Well,
I know.
Gotta stay on
It
the
was
I
safe
had to
relaxed.
play off the lean comment.
I know.
okay?
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Are we done with the salary thing? Because I'll pull up expenditures now and we can
Sorry.
work through that.
Yeah.
Okay, but before we go there, I got your lean. Do we have an expected what you think revenue on lessons would be, members of council? Because we need a revenue number.
For the,
According to the previous Zen system and looking back in records, the average that could be calculated out was about the 17,000 number is where we came up with that to base our numbers off of. So I don't know if you want us to put 17, you want to put 15,000?
I think she has it.
I'm
a
gonna,
different
I'll
sheet.
grab it right here. I got it right here. Revenue lessons.
I was gonna say the or the fee on that, I think that was part of our, that we brought up for last to bring.
Oh, the public hearing. I had that with me.
So I guess I'm trying to figure, we don't actually have a golf lesson fee, so what is the proposed golf lesson fee?
$60.
Wait a minute.
it's,
Right? Bucks, because we were, it was like 80.
well, there's several different offerings under that. So,
Hour and two-
and all that's going to vary depending on what we finally settle upon in terms of. And then we're still back to the same question in front of us right now. What do we think that's gonna total up to? I'm almost at the point because it's planning,
Notes on it.
I'm thinking we are no smarter. We may have done more work, but we're no smarter in terms of what we're actually gonna get for revenue than we would be if we were to ballpark a figure right now, regardless of what that rate is, because it all divides back out the other way. If we decide to charge $20 an hour or $60 an hour, is this gonna be the number of opportunities then to get to the target we put in there for an income? Because we haven't got a clue right now, meaning are really gonna come across our pro in the next year. So I would be, as much as I hate doing it, to get it to a comfortable level, if the estimate's 17,000, we're expecting growth, then I would say an amount of 20,000 would not be unreasonable. Because I might go down and I might take that many lessons to get my game back.
I got you covered.
You writing that check?
Well, I appreciate the,
So if you want to have a fee, you want to have an estimated fee before we have it set in stone, and then you want to make up a number of how many lessons we think they'll do and come up with a number, great, let's do the exercise. Pick any number for any one of those things on that list, let's assign a number to it, let's calculate it out, and let's plug it in. But to do a whole bunch of debate on it is just going to get us back to the same question.
Yeah.
Pick a number.
You
How
won't
we
get any
to it's up
debate
to
from
you.
me because it's all hypothetical. We don't know.
Yeah, you
So-
don't, like, that's where I'm at, like, right?
Yeah.
I could do the number back into it.
So
Going off this.
the Zen system, we know the golf range balls weren't in there, but on the Troon report, it said that there was only 13,500 in the range. Well, we know that not to be true. So if you're gonna say in the Zen system, it's only 13 or 17.
On average
five.
is about 17.
So I agree with Councilman Sanders. You could probably put in 20 and that's a pretty safe bet.
17, sorry, Tiffany, can you go back to that, the 17 number?
It was an average over the course of like annually, that was about the average was about 17,000 that we
had
could depict out of.
for the last 2 years?
No, like, because we haven't done lessons the last 2 years. That hasn't been our purview on the city side. So we have no data. on lessons. What we did have is when we had the contract scheme of the hybrid, we were able to go back and pull, but some of that data, as you dive deep into it, gets kind of murky because there was instruction that happened on travel, and those are all categorized into some of the same category. So it gets pretty messy, in the sense of it wasn't our accounting, right, on the city side. So that, to be clear, when I say messy, which is the wrong word, sorry. So really we have no data other than trying to go back and figure out what the lessons are, adding them, and then dividing them over a course of a period of years and saying about $17,000 could be maybe plugged in there.
That's, again, I'm not trying to get down in the weeds. I just want to know how we got to that number, because while I get that we want the growth to grow and everything, and maybe we can get to 20,000, I also don't want a inflated projection number as well.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just curious if help me understand how we got to the 17,000.
They went and re-looked at the Zen intake reports specific to lessons and divided it out to get to 17.
We all know the high quality that's Zen provided.
That's the problem.
Correct.
That's why we're back into take the dart and throw it at the board, almost in this area.
I'd rather stick with the 17 just to be a little bit more realistic. I'll just say that.
Pick a number, any number.
You guys are good. 17's a good number? Okay. 17 it is. We're not 80-20 in the split.
Just about
It's
to say,
just
no, we
solely this.
Good, with putting it under pro shop sales.
I think it
on the
needs to
deal.
itself to know.
For
Especially if you're
lessons,
going to want.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Needs to be its own.
Especially since there's the potential for any of these we're setting right now that are in the ether of generating more revenue than we're projecting. I'd like to find so we can kind of tease out any issues that come up as a result.
Okay. I'm
That
hitting
makes sense.
save.
Tiffany, did you get your copy back?
I did. I
passed
have it
down.
right
I
here.
didn't want it claimed if it got missed.
Yeah, I just sent it yesterday to get proof for public hearing, so I was like, I gotta have it. Okay. I didn't give it a line. Golf instruction / lessons. Save there. Excellent. Okay, 2 expenditures. Councilwoman Workla,
Thank
we're
you,
lean.
sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Thanks for letting me jump in.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so back to my original question, Jake. Think this is what you want, or
The only thing that I would really want to keep it the same, which is lower, would be my meeting schools and dues. Lower to 2,500. I'd like to put it back to 5,000. I think this year it's pretty much. I think I've wiped it out this year, and I didn't even go to so like, let me just give you an example. Like the superintendent conference, has to go to that. It's like I paid for my assistant to go because they give a lot. There's a lot of classes there, right? And my assistant never worked on a golf course until this last year when I hired him. I brought him over from the streets. So I paid for him to go. He went down to Orlando. We had to pay for those classes. Most of those classes are, you got full day classes, half day classes, couple hour classes, but they're anywhere from $150 to $300 a class, depending on what it is. And for that whole trip, it cost about $2,300, right around there, if I remember right. And so, and then I have our, like, let's say we take our pros dues out of there, which I didn't think of until just recently. We take the pros dues, we take my dues for superintendents, we take my assistant dues. That's probably close to $1,000 there. So, and then just for my pesticide recertification, I have a pesticide license. I got to have, 16 credits every 2 years. I think they may have just changed it. It has been 16 credits for every 2 years. In my Class A golf course superintendents, I have to have so many credits used as a class. I didn't really think about all that stuff, but I would definitely like to keep it at 5 and pray that I don't over. I think I'm real close to. Oh,
Can't read.
I can't read. That was before my generation. So yeah.
What are we
Can you
I
can you
looked up
can
and
you
was-
rewrite that? Just kidding, I'm just kidding.
Why don't you share it with the entire class?
I looked up and was like, what is he talking about?
He was in the middle of talking.
I wasn't talking what restaurant. Oh yeah, and restaurant repairs too. So that's brought down to 0, and that's going to be. I take a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of stuff we take for the restaurant. Cintas comes out of there every.
The hood.
The hood.
Before you jump to that, let's stay on the meetings for a minute.
Yes.
Um,
Gave me this note and it threw me off.
It's in red.
That-
This new structure does include the addition of a Class A Pro and again, things like CEUs and certification of a golf professional come with those additional costs.
Mhm.
My question to you, Jake, and I understand your desire to be as lean as possible, but I also understand the necessity of keeping everybody current in order to provide the services we need them to provide. So is $5,000 realistic amount for this?
I don't think so. I think this year I almost overdrew that line. It's like it might even be overdrawn. I'd have to look again, but I
And
think it's
that's before we add a Class A Pro next year.
yeah. And I didn't even go. I mean, I didn't go to the fall meeting. There's classes I didn't even take.
So turn your little green lit mic towards you and tell me what you think the real number might be.
Jake, you have $14 in the line.
So the pro we paid for TJ's.
That's
and that
plenty.
was what, $600 to $800?
I don't remember. I think the pros is like 600, but it's probably gone up since then. And then I don't know if we paid for classes for TJ to keep his cert. I'm not sure how that all worked because I wasn't really privy to that. But I don't know.
Their classes.
I think 5 isn't enough, but I don't know what the right amount is. Maybe 75, maybe.
100?
Yeah, 7,500.
$75? No.
Yeah, 75.
We're down to 14.
70.
Classes
Yeah,
in the
7,500.
West Coast, Jake?
Huh?
Is there classes in the West Coast that are less expensive?
For like what? For me?
Yeah, instead of
For
sending
me,
you down
mine-
to Orlando.
No. So yes and no. So they rotate every year because superintendents are all over the country, right? So last year is in Orlando. This coming year it's in New Orleans. There's only like 6 to 7 convention centers that are big enough to hold it. And so, because the trade show's so big, so they go from San Diego, Las Vegas, Orlando, San Antonio, and New Orleans are the ones that they've used probably within the last 10 years.
Now, on these trips, in my experience, when I was budgeting for travel on grant programs, I'd take like 10 people to these conferences.
Mm-hmm.
It was not unusual back then in the early 2000s to have individuals that I would wind up budgeting on average about $2,500 a person per trip. So if we're going to add on a certified pro, and I think they'll need to attend at least one similar trip and their licenses,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at $3,000, $3,100 by them themselves.
I would say that would be probably fair because I would think for me, I'm probably right around 33,000 to 3,500.
So we should be probably looking at something closer to 8,000 in that line.
And like for my side, I don't send like I didn't go to Orlando because I'm not big on flying, right? I mean, I've done it, I just don't like it. So I sent T. Plus, it was beneficial for him.
Bottom line is the trip was made.
Yes.
The expense was incurred.
Yeah. But what I was getting at is me and T won't go at the same time. One of us will be at the golf course. I won't do that.
Jake, what they did with parks, I'm sorry, with rec, is they itemized each thing, like saying like Brianne needed to go for whatever. So that would be helpful to, I'd say, for next year, is to
One I'm sorry to interrupt. One of my notes I made yesterday, and I made it with Hank specifically, was to add under the meeting schools and dues. And I talked to Jake about this morning. Is potentially a budget line for the departments that require CEU education,
Okay.
because those are kind of specific to their trade department. That was a note I made to get with Paula on and say, hey, we need to do better next year to bust out that CEU education outside of the travel
Okay.
expenditure.
All right.
So
Very good.
kind of same line.
Okay.
Jake, would you be willing to kind of get a little list like for that? Okay. I mean, I see the 5.
I can't really, I mean, I guess I can talk to Chris on the pro side and see what he would do, but on my side, I can.
I'd like to see some numbers if chance. 5, I think I could. But the 8, I need a little more information.
Yeah.
See it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll vary a little bit because of like classes you take and stuff. I mean, they offer, I think for the superintendents, they offer probably over 100 classes, and
Right.
you just go through and pick which ones, like certain agronomy classes that you want to go to, or bunker renovations, or spray stuff, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But
I'm good with
I can
5.
give you an estimate.
I think, for me though, I would like to see a little more amenable
Fair.
to that,
No, that's fair.
especially since I already had meeting and travels during the admin budget yesterday. So
Oh, I'm like, oh, admin. That's
The
that's
The
not
guy
me.
that fell asleep.
Me, but not me.
He came and
it's
told
not,
me also.
it's not $50,000 you're asking, but I just would like a little more information.
No, I could probably pull some of that stuff up.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Jake on 7,000, line 7,000. It says this line was overdrawn in 24-25 budget due to purchase of fungicide products to fix greens. This line requires an increase due to the cost of fertilizer fungicide cost recommended increase of 10,000 needed, but you didn't increase it 10,000. So are you asking for 60,000?
I mean, I was kind of going to leave it up to you guys.
Oh.
I mean, I can get by. Right now, I think I'm at, maybe $1,000
Gave it to you.
in there left, and so I do have some fungicide on hand. I've pre-ordered all that stuff, so that was just kind of I mean, it goes up every year, and so with fertilizer and everything, just fertilizer stuff, it's crazy how expensive fertilizer and fungicide is.
Jake, is there a shelf life on that stuff?
There is, yeah. So it'll be used this year for sure. I don't know exactly what the shelf life. I've had stuff in there for 2 years before and still used it, and it's been fine. But
I'm thinking in terms like, is the fungicide the one that's got the shelf life?
I think all of it has a
All it
shelf
does.
life. Yeah, yeah. I think it all has a shelf life. But I try to buy, because for the greens, my the fertilizer program for the greens, the company I use does deals if you buy it bulk in before like March or whatever, I save money on buying it. And so I have my program already put together for the greens, and I buy it all up front. And I try to do the same with the fungicides, but with the new diseases that have kind of been coming into the West a little bit that really we haven't seen a lot, I've been switching up my fungicides and stuff. Plus I take all my soil samples, and like if like when we have the disease, I send off samples to make sure I got the right disease that I know I'm spraying for. And I mean, just to do that, you overnight it, it's like $500 or more than that. It's crazy. But I don't know. I mean, I could probably get by for 50 if we wanted to do 50 again, but I'd
I'm
hate to
okay.
be caught with my pants down and having disease and no fungicide,
Well,
Oh.
that was a visual I didn't need.
I'm fine with the 60. I know you're trying really hard to be
That was a
very fiscally conservative with your budget, Jake, to the point of you're asking for money, but then you're not putting it down. Yes, you're the department that's really, I mean, all departments are being really good, but this one is really lean, and I respect and appreciate that your efforts on that. I'm willing to give you 60.
Just my thought with this, the logistics of getting it done, if we don't have that potential in his budget already, and we get another convergence like we had last year, and if he's gonna, and that repair, that additional specialized diagnosis and then designated treatment is not something he's already covered for, he can, if he's gonna overdraw on his budget line, it's gonna come back to us. By the time we see it, we could be so far away from effective treatment that we lose it. So this is one of those, you don't get it early, it's gonna get you lines. So I'm just a little hesitant to, I'm gonna err here. I'd rather err on capacity than delay.
I've already had that same disease last year. I've already had it twice, but I've caught it and sprayed it, and then I've sent samples in to make sure that it was killed and dying. So I've already had that, which is last year was the first year they've really seen it in the West, and I've already had it twice because it's going to stay in the soil. I have to just keep spraying for it now.
Good job. You put us in the lead. I'm in the West.
I know, right?
Councilman Sanders,
These
are you good with
amazing
the 60
greens.
then, or?
I would say at least 60.
Jake, I'm good with the 60, and I'll say, I understand the concerns and I agree with that, but the selling point that you had on me was that you had mentioned you buy bulk and in the off season, which gets a discount. I know that does savings, especially these examples of streets, not necessarily our streets, I don't know for sure, but I know other agencies, they'll buy de-icer and that in the off season, which in bulk, which does save quite a bit. So with that being said, since you had mentioned that, I'd be up for the 60.
Okay.
And again, no one knows our job or your job better than you, right? Like, what the heck do we know about how much
Well,
fertilizer is going to cost in bulk for a golf course? So.
every golfer knows my job better than me.
Oh, well, we don't golf up here except for one.
Mark's not.
No, Mark's not even looking up.
Jake, how are you on gas and oil?
I was just about to ask that same.
I've got the review or the expenditures right here, and you're about 40%. Spent about 12,000. You got hit with a large increase in gas prices and that. So, can you kind of give us a?
I mean, it's
So you've cut it by
like,
6.
I don't know what to say on that. I mean, I've
gas cards and he just started to.
you can see it's been high forever, right? I've never overdrawn that line and stuff, but I'm just looking to try to save money a little bit. But I'd be a little, looking at the gas right now.
What's your line? Where are you at with that line right now currently?
I just had it. He's at
20,000's left.
20,000 left. So you were pretty.
Till
Were you
And
pretty high?
What's the percentage of expenditure so far?
33.5.
About
Okay.
to hit the season where
We
the
have
carts are
different
going to be
sheets.
running like crazy. So
Oh, this
I
one.
think he's
Well-
pretty much on target. I
Well,
would
that
assume on target at this point.
that and maintenance
Says the
equipment,
12th
right,
each
are going to be
year.
running pretty consistently.
The cost
So
on maintenance you can kind of average out,
Oh.
but it's that surge that comes with
6
the season and the
days
carts
ahead.
where it's going to get
6 days of
interesting.
gas adds up. We're actually at 18,880 is left. Gas and oil. So Paula had sent me this for the.
Yeah, 18,880,
Okay.
39.1%, I think. That is on this.
So are you guys thinking he needs to go up to where he's at, or even more? Or to where? Yeah, the 31,000.
Leave it at 31.
I mean, I think 31 keeps you closer to the reality.
I'll do it, whatever you guys decide.
25, I have a feeling is going to get overdrawn
Mhm.
if the world market has the
This is none of those where we're
craziness that
kind of
it
at
does.
the whim of the world.
Yes,
Yeah.
like, and just being realistic about that, I think 31 is probably reasonable.
Plus, if we are pushing more people out the door next
Mhm.
year.
I would support leaving it at 31.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He buys in bulk, so that's something to take note. He's not necessarily paying the at pump price, but he's
But
getting
still
it. It's yeah,
volatile.
yeah. By all means, I'm not saying it's inexpensive. So yeah,
We're not hauling it in from Costco either.
yeah, for sure. If we could, we would.
Hey, they're under $4 a gallon right
Oh.
now, so
You just gotta wait there.
They don't sell diesel though.
From the
No.
previous
Jerks.
year, Jake.
Yeah.
that was back when gas was still substantially under $4.
33.
What's that?
375 or so. 89.
Hopefully it goes back down.
I'll tell you what it was when I started buying gasoline.
Yeah.
Jake, is there anything else on there? I'm good otherwise.
Just the restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And
And
then
I'm-
there is another note in line 9900. The go back to
The restaurant is where we're at.
the 0.
Line is that going?
3850.
So restaurant repairs was removed. Why again?
I don't know. I didn't remove that one. So I don't know.
There was a repair, I think we just bring it back to the council.
You'd have to pay for it though, the contingents.
We are obligated for like hood maintenance and seeing what your inspection or like it inspected. Sorry.
They clean it. They clean it every 3 months.
Right, but we didn't take that out of the maintenance stuff. I think
Yeah.
It says removed in the purple line below it. So reduce,
What
remove.
one?
3850.
So
Remind me, wasn't this
the restaurant
part of this repair, wasn't this part of the changeover
So I don't
when
know
we
if I'm
brought in the
reading
new
it wrong
vendor
or
that carried it
something, but-
forward? We keep finding stuff along the way that need to be fixed.
So the restaurant repairs has been in there. Shoot, it goes back. How far does that go back?
88 appliances removed too.
Yeah, I a lot of that stuff. So like anything like the maintenance on the hood, the maintenance on the dishwasher, stuff like that is all came out of that line. The clubhouse repairs and maintenance, I do not take anything that's for the restaurant. I try not to take that out of. I leave that strictly for just the clubhouse side. The restaurant stuff, anything that's maintenance that happens on the restaurant side comes out of the restaurant repairs and maintenance.
So that one is the 10,000. That is the hood, the Cintas,
in
the
30
cleaning.
in 3810,
Yes.
but 3850 has been removed completely.
Yeah, no,
That'd be like if a stove goes out.
Cintas,
air
some of
conditioning
Cintas
go
stuff
out.
does come out of the restaurant stuff because they have stuff that they put in on the restaurant side. So I usually try to read to see what is taking out when Cintas comes, and that's how I divide that up. If it's for the clubhouse side, I try to put it in the clubhouse. Sometimes it's all encompassed into one. So
Okay, help me wrap my head around it. 3850 restaurant repairs went over by almost $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps describing to me how we did that might help me understand whether or not we need to have money there or not.
Freezer. Probably a freezer. Was there a
There was a changeover to that. I think first year's birdies was in there, and so there was a lot of stuff. We had.
Oh yeah, we put the
Yeah, they-
wall in.
That was all restaurant.
The
We
flooring
didn't
was a
put the wall
separate
in.
one.
Walk-in cooler.
Jared put the wall in, but there was electrical stuff that we had to fix in the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And the walk-in
So-
cooler.
Walk-in cooler.
Failed.
There was a bunch of stuff in the walk-in cooler we had to fix and get up to par.
So it wound up being over $16,000 to do that. We're not anticipating having.
It wasn't
those
just to
type of
do that.
costs.
Then that's part like that part, and then plus operating for the whole year of the stuff that came out to like dishwasher maintenance, the hood and stuff also came out of there. So that was. Is that making sense, or am I throwing you off? Too?
Well, it's one of those where I see a couple of things getting mixed. Things like inspections on the hood, inspections on the equipment, that's going to be a reoccurring cost.
Mm-hmm.
Things like having to replace it, having to repair it, I see as an episodic cost. We're going to have to pay for it when it happens, kind of a deal. So when they're mixed into the same line, I don't want to reduce that line if I know I've got recurring costs that are coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
At least I'm not going to reduce it to zero. I'm not going to remove it. I've still got to have a place to pay for those inspections and certifications that are going to be part of the normal routine we're going to see over and over again. Right? So either we need to identify those recurring costs so we can budget for them and then handle ad hoc repairs by coming back to the council and asking for additional money, or we need to put a line in here that allows the flexibility for the repairs when it's necessary or needed, but at a minimum, make sure we cover the recurring.
Paula, do you think it'd be possible by our next follow-up meeting regarding budget that we could get some printout of the 3850 line? And
I'm
would you mind?
pulling 3810, but yeah,
Oh.
if you want to pull both of them. So,
Thank you.
3810 and 3850.
yeah.
Yeah, because it may be
Thanks, Sue.
simply we just reallocate the cost a different direction and we
Right.
can still get rid of this line. If the council's desire is that when repairs occur, they come to us for contingency to do it. But I don't want to inadvertently wind up going, oh, wait a minute, when we dropped this line, we forgot we had this going over here.
Agreed.
Yeah, I almost kind of feel like we maybe just, yeah, I don't know.
Drop the clubhouse line too
Yeah.
to 10.
So I do want to also say, like, the coming to the council is not a problem, but if we lose a freezer that we own and the contractor then is out food, and that's a special meeting and time's of the essence, and buying the equipment then is in a hurry. You know what I mean? Like, those are all the risks that delaying to come back and not having the ability to just help expend
Immediately.
happens.
Yeah.
So just so that's also
Nothing that would cause that would be a small ticket item.
Jared has been really good at being in there.
I talked to him over the weekend, and he actually cleans them out, their vent system and everything routinely.
Plus, he bought his own. He bought a cooler or a nice cooler and stuff, or he's I don't know how he's doing it, renting it maybe or whatever from a Boise storage kind of cooler. He's been. I don't know why he did it, but he did it. So he does he's putting money into
How he runs his business is a world we don't want to delve into.
Exactly. I'm trying to emphasize that Jared's doing a good job out there. So he's a team player for the
So
city and the
Councilman,
golf
are you
course.
wanting to add like 10,000 into the 3850-ish?
I think Sue was gonna get the numbers right to see what we might want to put in there.
I guess I have a question for you then. So like, let's say Cintas. Could I just take, even though like some of the mats and stuff go in the restaurant, could I just take that out of Clubhouse? And then we make a line that's restaurant, like the restaurant repairs, it's just for repairs?
Can you just create a janitorial line like the other departments for
Yeah.
that?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something like that. There you go. That's easier. Good job. I didn't create these lines. I'm just dealing with them.
That's okay.
I like it. Janitorial stuff.
I don't think you can move anything into the clubhouse because you,
But we would need to know what your Centos bill is and then back the math into it to put that in the line.
Dick, can you run me through that? So you're thinking of combining basically and just making a one GL for repairs and maintenance?
No, he wants to take out the janitorial out of the clubhouse repair.
But this creating the janitorial line will fix
Yeah,
it.
I would
Yeah, I
like
think
to
if you create the janitorial line, then we're kind of right now. Then just ignore what I just said a minute ago.
So you want a separate janitorial line?
Yeah, then you could take like the Cintas stuff out of there for the whole building. You know? I think would be probably best, right?
Yeah, if I was in your seat, I would have did that a while ago.
Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't know. I didn't even see. Should have told you that a while ago, Jake. I'm
How many
sorry.
times have you looked at my budget?
A
with
lot.
So that being said, if we're going to create the janitorial line, we'll have to come up with some value of what to enter
That's I
into
just said.
that.
Yeah, we'll have to. With Cintas, Sue will be able to grab where it's how it's coded out, and we'll be able to do the math and back it in.
Because there's also the dishwasher service that's monthly, and those chemicals. Does that come out of that, or does that come out of?
I would keep that in that restaurant
Okay.
equipment line, or however you want to code that, because it is specific to
To
restaurant.
restaurant. I mean, there's several recurring things that
Yep.
that happen there. The hood maintenance stuff, the fire inspection.
I like it.
When Jake told me the line was, it's gonna go negative.
It's,
And I'm gonna have to write the memo. Because the restaurant is in
We encourage Jake to do it, but we help him.
Yeah. Well,
I
no,
don't
I
like
just
my memos. They change them.
no, I just know he would come to me and go, "Tiff, the restaurant contract technically falls in your wheelhouse, so you have to write the memo." That's what would happen.
Sure.
While they're getting that out, we keep working through the rest of this.
Yeah. Are there any more expenditure questions?
I don't have any more.
99.
Oh, the 99, the pump house.
Oh, yeah. You're asking for 20,000 to.
Oh, 20,000. Where 9900?
Mm-hmm.
You have any bids on that, Jake?
Machine.
Biganetta, I think, is who you got a bid from, right?
I have a bid on from Beggin that guy for
Estimate, right?
Beneganetta.
yeah. I have an estimate. Thanks for correcting me. 8 is I have it in my email, but last time I think it's 18,500, right around there.
Okay.
What is this?
Have you gone out for any
Sue, you're the best.
I have not. I was just trying to get a quick one right to bring here, so you guys would have an idea, just in case you wanted to go that route. I mean, the pump house. I mean, the pump. It's got a. Have I taken you out there?
Thank you.
I know I took Harjo out there. I mean, it's covered and stuff. It's just like a lean-to kind of thing right now. It's just temporary. I used pretty much all the extra tin from when we tore down the building when we put the pump house. I kept that around and used that and stuff. So it's more of a quick fix just to keep it covered for till we could figure out what we were going to do with the building.
Right.
But yeah,
41. It might be the number of
I'm
weeks.
just gonna show how
If it's a 5-week
awesome
period
of
of
an
service
employee I
or
am.
4 weeks, maybe.
Have ductless AC and building upgrades moved to future budget?
I think, I mean, I kind of would just get with Jared and see if he still wants those in there. I don't know how, if he needs them or what. I haven't really heard anybody really complaining about the heat and everything in there. I know the air conditioner has gone down once, maybe this year, and it's been fixed, but
Because they left the doors open and it freezes, the air conditioner works too hard. So the thought process of the ductless air conditioner was for the bar side and then the kitchen side, closing the vents off so it has its own system, and then the air conditioner would be for the pro shop, the bathrooms,
And the common dining area.
I think that was like $5,000, $7,000, or $10,000.
I don't remember. I didn't really, that was,
But the power
really wasn't.
was the issue, right? Or no?
Yeah.
No, the power was fine. We just didn't have the money to do it.
I thought there wasn't any room left in that box
Yeah, we're gonna.
for breakers.
There's
some.
gonna
There-
be
but-
some work that have to be done, and
But on the bar side,
my
there
personal
was-
opinion, I don't know how important
Got it,
they
Jake.
are. You know,
Wasn't
like, I
it?
don't know. It's
Well, I
not.
don't, but I want to double check with Jake to make sure is this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like my personal opinion. I don't know if we really need them, but I could maybe talk to Jared a little bit to see what he kind of gets back. I don't know.
I'm
Is
good
there-
cutting them out.
Yeah.
I want to double check with you since we're on the topic of the building for the pump house. If this is coming up, I want to make sure that is the ductless, can we get through?
Oh, I would say yes. I would say the pump is probably more important. To cover the pump would be more important, especially with all how much money we just spent on that thing.
We're talking the big pump you just put in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that bid also included the enclosure.
did not.
No. No enclosure.
No,
It
couldn't.
was like a extra $60,000 or something.
It was extra 60.
I think so.
This one's only 20.
So the enclosure that would have been included in the pump was coming from the pump company. It was like an extra 60,000. The one that this is just a local contractor giving us a bid. He came out and gave me a
You get the
estimate.
same retractable or removable roof. Because the original one, you had it set to where they could take the roof off.
Not, you mean in the original, like with the, so yeah, there's a, not the whole roof, just like a hatch over the pumps to be able to pull them out.
Right.
He put that in the estimate, yes.
Okay.
John did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. When I get back, I'll try to email that over to the council if you want to see it, the estimate.
I wouldn't mind seeing another.
Get another one from someone else. Okay.
Because I know we've already had undo the pump on that, so I think
Mhm.
just going out and getting some.
Yeah, that's fine. That's why I called him, just because he'd been there and kind of worked around it and knew what we were working with.
Ultimately, what'll happen is he'll seek after him, and if no response comes, the only one you have is then Bedaganetta. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and that's kind of typical as we reach out to several.
Yep.
And usually Paula or I will tell them you have to go ask more, or at least show. And we ask that they all do it by email so that we have proof of that trail. So just so you guys are aware. Yeah.
What line is that? Thank you.
You want me to put that in there for now, and then Monday it'll be a review?
I would be okay with putting it in, but putting it back on the list for
Review?
Yeah. to
So
come back.
as of the Cintas bills added up from October to the last one on this 3810 line, you're at $6,616.06 of 5 more. Okay.
And that's under restaurant repairs,
That would be the janitorial line
New
that you're
line.
going.
but it was coming out of restaurant repairs, right?
Yeah. It's gonna look at like average.
See, and there is one where I've taken Cintas out of Clubhouse too.
Mhm.
I'm not exactly sure why, but probably because some of that stuff was like the rugs and stuff in Clubhouse, is what I'm guessing, or maybe mops or something. I don't. But I try to look and see what's going, and sometimes it's like they bill you for both, so I just kind of pick one to put it in.
I would be okay with the janitorial line.
Be-
I think for me, going back to the previous discussions when we started this with golf is the more data, the more we're able to actually pinpoint is going to be big.
I agree
Agreed.
with the janitorial line.
How much
Agreed.
did you like in there? Did you say it was like 6,600 last
So-
year?
No, that was just so from October till now.
Oh,
Yeah. So
It's the off season we have data for.
always.
It'll be cleaner having the janitorial, that's for sure.
and Jake, they come out twice a month.
I think so. Yeah, in the clubhouse side or on that side, they do.
Yeah. So like I took 354, which is there's one in here for $797. I don't, that may be equipment or maybe a like bill capture. It looks like it was at the holiday time. But just so you guys know my math, I took $354.61, which is the highest one besides the 700. Multiplied it by 24, it's $8,510.64. But I don't know if that's, some of the bills are, as you all see, are inconsistent in the same numbers. I would say probably 8,500 to 9,000 is probably a safe ballpark, but
I'm going to suggest 75. Body's thoughts are.
1 second. I remember when we did the restaurant contract, we pulled a boatload of data.
their contract.
Clubhouse invoices.
You've changed it a few times.
Repairs and
I
maintenance.
know I cut it a few times when Brandy was here. Then it
She complained, so then it went back up.
Equipment
You may wanna look
condensed,
at it.
capital outlay condensed.
Weird and-
Invoices.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So let's just
It will help you separate it out. You don't have to go.
23.
All right, council.
I think Scott's trying to find info.
Sorry, you guys. If you have other stuff you want to tackle,
Can we
I'm
look
just
at
trying to
while he's
condense
doing
this
that?
info.
Can we look at revenue? Or am I jumping ahead?
Yeah, no, I'm totally down with what
Okay.
the only other presentation part I had was some marketing stuff and then the rounds of golf information and then the projections on Clubhouse, like expenditure versus what the revenue markup would be. So that's which comes right into revenue discussion. So
Council, one more quick, if you don't mind. Jake, I'm gonna kind of ask the $1 million question, because I know I'm gonna get questions from constituents and that, especially when they see this proposed budgets and the cuts.
Okay.
Which I do agree with Councilwoman Workland. I think the sentiment has been, thank you for coming with a budget with cut all these items and that. My question is, with all of, how do I pose this? Can you walk me through the difference between last year and this year for these cuts, just so understanding of
So
like why didn't we have these cuts kind of last year? Does that kind of make sense where I'm coming from?
yeah, I think I would just say this year I just took and this is just gonna be completely honest about myself and everything, with just the way the golf course is going right now, with being in the public eye and just being scrutinized and everything. I think I just for myself thought about just like how I just need to be better at trying to make it ever trying to just run it more just like a municipality golf course instead of trying to be something bigger or better, you know. I just felt like I don't even know if I'm saying the right words. I just felt like for me I just needed to just look at it a little closer and see if we can get by with less, you know. Because I don't want the golf course to go away. Right. And so if the golf course goes away, I'm not worried about me finding another job, because I'll find another job. But I don't want to, you know. I want to make the golf course work for the golfers and for the citizens. And so I just kind of felt like whatever I needed to do on my side to make that happen, I need to look at trying to figure out how to do that. That's probably the right way. Why?
And I appreciate that, Jake. I know those are the questions that I'm anticipating is, you know, if we're able to cut it now and really try and trim it up right now, why are we discussing this now versus like last year?
Yeah, and I think
it comes back to those fail spots, like what trying to learn moving forward of.
Yeah, and I definitely am totally fine. Like I get it, right? Like I probably wasn't doing as good a job as I maybe should have on that stuff. Like I kind of would look at like, okay, I overdrew. Let's bump it up to because I overdrew, instead of thinking, well, maybe I can just get by without. And so, I mean, that's on me. So now I'm trying to
the
think.
conversation you also told me was that I'm gonna run all my equipment into the ground, and then if I need something, I'll just come back to council, and then council will have to help me figure it out. And so that's not also a healthy way to look at running a department either, right?
It's not.
But you just didn't want the spotlight on you as much, or on the golf course as much. So because it has had, like you said, a negative spotlight on it. And so, I mean, that's why I'm saying when I had to give you credit, where you're just trying so hard to cut everything, even on gas, right? To the point of where, yeah, I mean, what department head would ever come to say to a council member, I'm going to run this piece of machinery into the ground and until I can't even fix it anymore, and then I'll come to council. Like that, this is the only department I think that's actually has really said that. Otherwise, your other departments are probably just trying to keep on top of it, right? Keep on top of the equipment, keep on top of the maintenance.
I would. There's a lot out there that are limping equipment along,
Well,
and
I
it
would say
happen.
that
And
too, yeah.
and I'm gonna go back. Like I've been around long enough, and Jake inherited aged equipment to operate on the golf course, and he still has that. But we take pride, and we know what we buy isn't ours. So we're taking care of it because it may not.
Right.
We may not get it again, right? As staff and as department heads, we all sat collectively a couple weeks back, and we again went through and reduced. And so some of us extremely. That's why I came to you all yesterday, like, hey, you want a facilities plan? That's on you. I cut that. I like the mayor said, I had 250,000 to put it. But do we need law enforcement cars? Absolutely, because we heard that yesterday,
Yeah.
right? That's how we look at it as a group. Jake looked at it and said, hey, I'll cut my gas. You know what I mean? Like that's how he went through. Me looking, Jake's came to me every day, comes to Paula. I'm like, Jake, you have no more to cut. He sat right by me in the budget meeting. I'm like, don't cut anymore. You can't cut. And I don't mean to be, what's $1,000? Right? In the schema is kind of how I looked at him. You need the 1,000. You're going to give up $1,000 to what? Right? You need it. So keep it. Like that's where me as a teammate to Jake was trying to help him along the way.
Yeah.
But everybody, we collectively are a team trying to better our community with you guys,
Yeah.
right? So that's our approach. Off my soapbox.
I do have a really good mechanic though, right now.
You
So
do have a
Very
good
he
one.
has like,
I've heard that from a number of people.
he's made me feel like because there are some pieces of equipment. I have a couple pieces of equipment that are 10 years, maybe 15 years past their life cycle. But this guy, he's like, no worries, we'll keep them going. Don't
Well,
worry about it. You know?
The loader, the dinosaur loader we have. What do they call her, grandma?
Yeah.
He fixed her in the wintertime. Like
Yeah,
Jake. Yeah.
He's a heavy machinery mechanic is his background, but he's just a good mechanic. And so like we use the streets department to dredge the pond and stuff. I mean, there was two things on their loader that had never been fixed, that had been bypassed, and when we get it and we're starting to use it, it goes down, and I like, hey Chris, can my mechanic said he can have this fixed in an hour. Can I buy the part and we just fix it? And he did, right? Like he's just a good mechanic, and so it's made me feel more. That's why I'm not like, could I use newer equipment? Sure, but I'm not going to come to you because he gives me the confidence to be able to keep it going. You know.
No, and I appreciate that, Jake. And I know the question might seem to be putting you on the spot, and it's not intended that. It's just one of these that
I get it.
This I'm trying to lean into as we're getting through with this golf budget is it's more of going to be a question for this body of where's the line. You know, we're going to, this is Councilman Sanders, we're embarking on this new city route, you know, and I can't sit here in good conscience and think, you know, Mayor, not to put you on the spot, but 5 years and we're transferring 3, 4, 500,000 each year. So while again, I do appreciate you leaning out your budget, what I'm trying to come to again is posing the question of where this body is going to draw the line so that we can say, we tried it here, but you know, this is, we need something where a line in the sand, quite frankly. So that's why I just wanted to ask. Just
So I get it, and I'm nothing like, I totally understand. I'll tell you, right? It's my department. I should have done better, and I'm totally fine with that. And I will do
honestly,
that.
I'm not to interrupt you. I don't think necessarily you should take the blame for it. I think the setup, quite frankly, for the last 2 years probably wasn't, you know, optimal. So I don't think it's fair that you put that completely on yourself. And so I think that's why we're having these conversations and moving forward, trying to, as Tiffany said, set it up for success. So please don't put this entirely on you on that. And that is never my intention on that, because I realize after our conversations that all weren't set up for success, quite frankly. And that's my opinion. I won't speak for this body, but so.
Councilman McCarthy, your response to the constituents that are going to ask you about this should be, I did not vote for a city-run golf course, period, dot. And so, you know, That's your defense right there. That's my defense, right? But we're doing what we got to do because we are a body, and if you get outvoted, you have to go with what the majority decision was. But anyway,
To a
So-
degree, respectfully. I agree, we have to work as a body, but I think there's 2 points of
yeah.
where you can still say,
I have a couple questions before we move on, just because I got a little confused. So we're okay with the clubhouse at $10,000, and then we're gonna add a janitorial line for 7,500.
Can I jump in on the janitorial line thing? So,
how-
so the numbers from 23 and 24 both round out. There's one kicker here of like defining J&J Heating and Cooling sits aside from like say Cintas. J&J Heating and Cooling is like replacing filters for HVAC and that kind of thing. Do we want to include that in janitorial or not?
I wouldn't
those
say
are like
he
the-
replaces the filters. He gets me the filters. I order the filters through him,
Okay.
and then we
But-
install them. Like
but-
he just dropped off a new box yesterday, the day before.
Would you consider that under the janitorial aspect or not?
See, like, so understanding of how like it kind of gets confusing. So a lot of departments, like City Hall, we have a maintenance buildings and ground line. Like our filters are going to come out of that line.
Right.
Where in this case, majority of his work in buildings and grounds and that it's going out to the exterior. So it may be beneficial to do an interior building and ground line rather than
Mhm.
that way it stays uniform and like filters or
And
light bulbs or whatever are coming out of that line. But that's her wheelhouse.
the reason I ask this is because there is a significant difference between the two. If we left that in there, we're about $9,100 between an average between 23 and 24. Looking at strictly those Cintas and J&J Heating and Cooling invoices from year 23 and year 24 together. If we take those out, hang on, we're down to 7,300. So if the idea is to maybe create two lines, an interior buildings and grounds and a janitorial, I mean, at what point are you drilling down too far, right?
No, fair.
Know that you have any difference, because you have repairs and maintenance clubhouse already.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fair. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just put it in
So,
And
there.
then
like,
you have repairs and maintenance.
In the janitorial line, we could probably get away with 7,500 strictly for janitorial and Cintas based on the historics from at least that time period.
Okay, then my next question is there anything gonna be in restaurant?
So that line is what we anticipate utilizing for equipment outages based on the contract that we fulfill
Mhm.
our portion of for the restaurant equipment. That was the intent.
Correct.
The contract as it reads, for maintenance of equipment, concessionaire shall take every effort to maintain all the equipment, so on and so forth. Written notification of city-owned equipment failures or equipment maintenance needs shall be delivered to the city clerk, treasurer, and golf superintendent within 7-day period, so that the city may repair the equipment in a timely manner. So it is on us to fulfill those things. I believe we should have some funding allocated in that, so it's not this emergent issue where all of a sudden we have to we get the notification late, we need to have a special meeting with 24 hours notice to make a decision to get a freezer, or Jake can just go get the darn thing. So I'm happy with putting money in that line. It's just a matter of how much we want to.
I think if you look backwards at the 22, 23 and the 23, 24, that's gonna give you a better picture than the 24, 25, because that's when we had
Right.
we did the kind of remodel. So if you put 9,500 to 10,000, I think that's a safe number.
One of those years I had to buy it, we bought a fridge.
It seems like we bought
Right.
one every year
Yeah.
for a while.
But I want to say
Right.
one of
Fire.
those like 16,000 was a fridge. Yeah. So just that seems to be what we run out on as a fridge.
Yeah, because your first complaint is person vending in the restaurant. I can't do my business until you give me that fridge. That's and oh, by the way,
Right.
and it's not like the stand-up fridge, isn't it? The prep counters.
There was that like hood tilt reach in, like sandwich counter one that went out one year. We've had the reach in fridge go out
The range.
in a year, and it was kind of like staggered. About every year there was like some equipment failure that was beyond repair and required a purchase in that sense. So
Because they get used.
historically, I think you're right, Paula. About $10,000 is probably the range. I mean, and there might be an instance where that goes over, unfortunately. If multiple pieces go down in the same year, I mean, we can't predict that necessarily.
Did you get out your clarifications, Paul?
I have one more.
Okay.
I'll just wait on that one.
Are we
One more
good?
que- I have
Are
one
we
more
good with the
question.
10,000 in the repair restaurant? Right, that's the line.
Fine with it.
I'm comfortable with it because just knowing the history of what we've had to deal with in the past. I mean, that it might not cover everything for that year if we have a weird catastrophic couple of events on big equipment, but that hasn't been the norm. It's been about one a year.
When our first year, we had like, was it like three different pieces of equipment that came across our table?
Right.
Yeah. So
But that was a pretty big spike year in that too. I think prior and after that it's been about one.
Yeah, they had a lot of old equipment in there.
Yeah.
I'll defer to my more senior council members along with their observation. I think 10K is enough to handle a small emergency. Anything bigger, we're likely going to be getting calls to come sit. But to give them that option to move quickly in a limited way is, I think, prudent.
Agreed.
One more question. I know we're coming up on noon, so we're going nowhere. Pro shop merchandise, and this may lead into the revenue side, but I need an expense side for you guys to be thinking about.
Yep.
And I have 0 on that one.
Yep, so that's the next kind of volley to you all is pro shop expenditure and then the revenue. And then we also need club rental revenue.
So which we want to call cart and which we want to call horse. And let's dive in.
And so we passed down some things. So we did the intake reports. I had them pull these yesterday. So you have October of 25 to current of what rounds have been played on the course. And then you also have from 24 to 25 operationally to talk about rounds. So that's part of your revenue discussion. And then this little sheet was your projection on expenditure of clubs and merchandise in the pro shop and what the revenue could be from that with the markup. So and then the spreadsheet also gives history trend of rounds played, cashed in that we've tracked here through City Hall. Trust is in however you want to trust it. So I think on the staff level request, we're seeking the ability to fund the pro shop expenditures or merchandise between a request of 35,000 and 40,000.
Tiff, would that be the initial investment cost, or would that be inclusive of the initial investment and then um, uh, capital reserve to refresh those throughout that stock throughout the remaining
Yeah, we would have to
budget?
you would have to put in a reserve in case sold it all out.
Right.
Right. So, and I don't know that right number. Is that a 50%? Like, I can't, like, looking at it, like, can't imagine, like, lip balms are gonna fly off the shelf and we're gonna restock them right away. When Jake and I kind of went through the list, we were like, well, imagine golf towels. You may sell one, probably will keep several. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Some are gonna have a longer shelf life than others. But to be honest, I've never been a merchandiser, so I don't know any of that industry. I'll lean on my elected officials who work in some of have, you know what I mean? You guys have some of that experience, so
Well, glad to see the margins at least markup of 30. Discussions about 10%. Me, it was one of those, well, that doesn't even cover, you know, your fringe benefits and everything, so with the 10% markup. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tiffany, but you said the initial request is 30,000? And that's for the pro shop.
correct for merchandise.
Just merchandise. That doesn't even include the club. Where are we at with the? Sorry, this is kind of a side note, but squirrel. I'm glad that you have the same. I call them squirrels too. Where are we at with the? Had conversations about the donations for those purchases for the club rentals and everything like that.
Yeah,
Because this is just merchandise. We're not even talking about club rentals yet.
no club rental yet. We did have a donor. We reached out. I actually reached out to him yesterday to see if I could get the purchase order, like the proof that it was paid in full, and make sure you guys got that, so you would know that they were paid for outside of city funds by a donor.
So is it staff's?
I'm texting. I got my assistants texting me right now. I'm trying to.
So are we? This is merchandise. We still looking into club rentals and all this, or is this going to be in this merchandise, or is the club rentals and all that separate from that $40,000?
Right. Club rentals would be separate from that, because once we can unbox the clubs that have been essentially paid for by donation money, we would then use them as rental clubs and youth clubs and get them out on the course and off of them on passing the resolution in public hearing. So.
Council, I think Decker, you might have some of these documents as well. Jeff Rhodes had prepared like a pretty thick folder of data information, and a lot of what he pulled from 2022 from the point of sale system when we had access to the pro shop sales provided a pretty in-depth look of the units sold that might be pretty close to one-to-one with, say, like the balls, the gloves, tees, and that kind of thing. I have that stuff. It's just a half a block down the road on my desk down there. I can get that and make copies over lunch, so we have something of kind of relative to us. Like Pro Shop is in the same space. We're selling nearly the same things. Person selling them was the person selling them, and we'll recognize that like that may have an effect. However, at least it's some realistic data from this space with this golfing community of what was purchased. Would you guys mind hanging off on the projected clubhouse sales part of that to know, would it benefit any of you to see that data so we can kind of get an idea of what numbers of units we move in a year?
Yeah, I think it would be good to see it.
Okay.
I'm just going to be honest and upfront for merchandise. It's because of my stance on the pro shop and using save. $35,000, $40,000. I just can't do. So, but yes, I wouldn't mind seeing the information that you you have on that, Councilman Joe.
Yeah, I'll get that over lunch and bring it back, make copies.
Like, that's the con, but the pro is you would be making 35% off of whatever that expense was. So you're not gonna go in spending 30,000. You're still gonna be able to track your expenses. And if it gets over that, then they won't purchase anymore. That was all we could do to stock the clubhouse. Just a thought.
Right, but the flip side of that coin too is maybe we only spend, or, you know, we buy $40,000, but we only spend out 10,000, you know, a quarter of
And
it.
it would have to be part of your audit. That's gonna be an additional component when you do the audit, how much inventory is left in that pro shop.
Mhm.
So that's gonna be a component.
And council, please, if the discretion is 20,000 is comfortable at the gate to spend to launch it and see how we work in the first quarter of sales before we make any other purchases and have to come back before you, like we're willing as staff to do all of that, right? To watch it deploy and we don't know what it will be. So if you're more comfortable with saying, hey guys, we'll put in, the plan is, and maybe this is it, we'll put in admin or in contingency a potential of an earmarked 50,000, let's just say. We're gonna let you guys do 20 in the golf pro shop, see how that runs, and if it's successful, come back and show us your success and ask for more on that earmark fund, if that's okay. Like we're willing to work through it. We just want your guys' input on that too, if that makes sense. And it helps with kind of the uncertainty, right?
So it's just I'll say a checks and balance.
Yeah.
Your approach of not just for $40,000 and now it's, you know,
Yeah.
versus it's no, show us. Okay, now we can have further conversation, but
For sure. So we're willing to
just,
entertain that.
sorry, thank you, Tiffany. Is this wholesale numbers or wholesale retail, or is this
That's
okay?
the cost that we would get him as a municipality.
Perfect. I wanted to make sure it's not one of those, we're going down to Walmart or, which you can't do. But anyway.
Where's the 47 they were talking about?
It's not on this
It-
sheet.
Oh,
it's
okay.
not. It's just the
Oh.
hypothetical.
I was in the
just-
restroom and I missed that. I'm like, I'm
No,
trying
we
to find,
just-
chase that number.
No, that's
Sorry, I
like
said that out loud.
Okay.
just kind of a hypothetical throw
Gotcha.
out of the initial investment.
Okay.
The revenue on the club rental, working on that is we anticipate between about $800 and $1,000 on potential club rental, but we stand for any suggestions you guys have on that.
Councilman McCarthy, what number are you thinking of for the clubhouse?
Clubhouse or the pro shop?
Pro shop, sorry. I need lunch, guys.
Yeah.
I'm
Blood
running
sugar.
off of nothing right now.
If I was being honest, I would say 0. I'd have to think on. I'm just out of the gate. $40,000 is. I'd like to see some data that Councilman Harjo suggested, but
Okay.
the $40,000, I'm just not comfortable.
Are you guys comfortable with us putting in a club rental revenue of about annually $8,000?
Sorry, what is it?
Club rental
Club rental?
On the revenue side.
on just revenue. There's
You
no
already have the
expenditure
club.
associated to it.
You have to put it somewhere though, right? I mean,
There's not an expense because we have the clubs donated.
right,
Eventually
but
there
that's
will
what I'm
be.
saying. You'll have to.
Eventually, in a couple years, you'll
But
probably.
we have a rate already established in fee structure for club rental. What, you know what that is?
Club rental 18 hole will be $20. 9 holes $10. You're swagging again. Tell you, Chris told me he thought he could do about $1,000 a month in it, and I find that to be kind of high.
I mean, that would be
But
400
I'm not the
instances.
person at the counter either.
That would be 400 instances at 8,000
Yeah,
potential
yeah.
at $20 a rental for an 18 hole. It's 400 instances of rentals.
I will
Minimum.
tell you, council, that if those clubs get a set of clubs gets used 400 times, you'll be replacing a set of clubs.
Right.
Especially by the people who will be renting them, because no scratch golfers rent clubs from a golf course.
I agree.
And the terrain we have, there's a reason the prior person had a whole bag full of rock clubs he sold dirt cheap, because
What's
my clubs are evidence. They get destroyed.
Can you give us a definition of what a scratch golfer is?
That's the guy that takes your money and smiles and
How'd you
says
know
thank
that?
you afterwards.
A hustler.
Scratch
Okay.
golfer.
As you scratch your head going, how did I just lose that?
Understood.
But in the golf vernacular, scratch golfer is a zero handicap.
5,000? 4,000.
I will tell you folks, where I'm just looking, because we're still ballparking and kicking it around, you've handed us a sheet that suggests initial cost based on the list you presented was just over 14,000. I'd be looking to say initially to double that. And I say that because in part, the list of offerings on this sheet in terms of brands and locations is subject to change without notice. You're not definitely, I'm gonna, correct me if I'm wrong, Tiffany, but this is a suggestion. It's not necessarily the actual product we wind up ordering.
You're on Clubhouse, this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no,
But these are examples of items that if we were to purchase them, this is what the average would be. We can go through and talk about which brands and which quality, all of that. But this is a pretty comprehensive baseline in terms of what types of equipment we're looking for, a bare minimum, and then augmenting that with a custom order capability.
So the custom order capability is the big part, right? Because a lot of these suppliers and spot checking with them are really enticing new customer bases to order a package of goods that would stock their pro shop, and a lot of those things include clubs, bags, and so on that are not within the target of I think what.
And it's not where we're going for at least the first couple of years.
Right. So I think there's going to be some work to be done in being able to get to that custom order.
So be able to work with getting started, at doubling that initial estimate amount as the total working capital first year. I'd be looking somewhere just shy of right at 30,000. It will add diversity to the offerings. It'll also give us a level of service that I think folks are going to be looking for initially, and used judiciously. Am I saying they're going to go out, order $30,000 worth of stuff? No, I expect the order to be somewhat like we're being presented now, in that $15,000 range, but then you have that additional immediate reserve. Because if they get one good tournament come through here, and they've got $2,000 worth of clubhouse money they need to spend, then our guys will need to have the flexibility of saying, hey, we just had $2,000 worth of stuff go out the door, we need to replace it. Without having to come back to the council and say, we sold 3 dozen Titleists at $27 million. That's about how expensive they're getting. We need permission to go get them back. And it's like, I don't want to see it go empty, because I do think you have to have that service as part of the amenity. It's like, but I don't want to, if I were talking about the swimming pool, I'm not looking to rent scuba gear, but I would like the snorkel to at least let water have a valve in it so it doesn't come in me when I dive under. Kind of a deal. And that's probably a poor analogy, but it's best I can do this late in the day.
It was poor.
So, bottom line, where I'm at, I'm right around, I'm seeing this and I'm going, it looks reasonable, but I think you have to also have the ability to replace it in a timely fashion. So doubling that gives everybody a baseline to start from. And then unfortunately, I'm edging closer to your uncomfortable line above zero. But it would still only be about $28,732. It'd be under 30.
I think Tiffany posed well, I'll first go back. When this first came up, the discussion, it was a very limited item list, but I'm looking at this and now we're doing suntan lotion, lip balm, water bottles now, which I assume will be some, plastic or something. Desert Canyon poker chips hats, where I'm thinking this was supposed to be balls and tees and gloves, a very limited supply, just like when we heard from the rec department yesterday with the pool. And so, to me, I think going into this pro shop, there needs to be a very strict understanding of what these items are actually going to be, and some mitigation on the purchase of them, which I think Tiffany's idea kind of, her suggestion helps with that.
Yeah, and I just want to be honest, like the miscellaneous at the bottom, that's golf industry standards. Like bug spray is in a golf pro shop because somebody's gonna come all along and say, I want bug spray, but its shelf life is going to stay. So like the reason those are there is because that's what we've sought after to understand in our research. So
But if, as Councilman Sanders is going off of this 14,000 and, doubling, and that's, it pulls in those items that are listed on here. So
Correct.
that's where I'm kind of, if we're only doing golf balls, tees and gloves and that, are we gonna spend $28,000 on those two items?
Well, I can tell you that cost goes a lot of different ways. It's easy to see it here. But I could also make the argument that when we go to marketing, golf tiles, logoed items that are used in the course could also be marketing materials. So there's a lot of different ways you can wind up splitting this. But put it in front of us right now, this would be the minimum I would expect to see if I walked into any municipal golf course anywhere in the state of Idaho. Moms are going to want sunscreens for the kids before they got to put it in the car before they took them out. And does it happen often? No. So the prudent thing is, how much of it do you order, but not have any of it. If I only need 3 bottles of sunscreen that lasts me all season, so be it. That's being prudent and knowing what your needs are in your community. Poker chips, that can be as much a marketing tool as anything else, but it's classically used as a marker on the greens. And other drinking games I won't get into. Use it, laugh, know exactly what I'm talking about. Desert Canyon hats, that's promotional. But I will tell you, you can go and look at my closet, and I've probably got a half dozen golf shirts or hats practically every course I've gone to play, because I want that as a piece of memorabilia, just like bag tags you don't see on here. But you'll find at least 2 on mine, because the 2 trips I made to Hawaii, I made sure I got one. It's a little bit of an ego thing, to be sure, because it's like, hey, I played here. But bottom line is, I bought those. And I bought it because I was there. I bought it because I played there. We can decide to what degree we want to offer that opportunity to our constituents. I don't want to deny it either. That's just me talking.
The constituents who play golf, and I understand where you're coming from, but again, I can tell you in the times that I've golfed, I've never bought any of my things from the clubhouse. I've always bought from somewhere else, and we have a store just not even half a mile down the road. So what I'm asking is, if we are going into this new approach, this model, I would like to see limited, and so that we are looking at that way and keeping those balances instead of a $30,000 fund, and have at it, and hopefully we sell all through it and get the money back.
And I can see that we have a very different view of what limited means when it comes to this area of expertise. Because to me, that's limited.
Let's see what Scott comes back, or Councilman Harjo comes back with after lunch, because that's real world sales, right? So let's just see what's selling.
The system that's coming out of, we already know, has been.
I just want to see it, because right now these are all hypotheticals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then I will say one thing. So my son did, like with TJ, did a junior tournament. I don't even know the language of golf, sorry, but did a junior tournament like 2 or 3 years ago, and his team won. And that little kiddo what's that thing? Is it a marker that you put on your?
Mm-hmm.
He wore that on his favorite baseball cap all day, every day, all year, you know. And then some people would even say, "Oh, look at you, you got." And he's like, "I won a tournament, right?" So, you know, something like that, I could see, yes, for your marketing point of view. He was very proud of it, and then it generated conversation. But
Okay. Before we leave, we have 1 minute because we're just taking a swag at something. Club rental. Club rental is $20 for 18 holes. I AI'd in the World Wide Web, thank you, a small municipal course that averages between 12,000 and 18,000 rounds is estimated between 75 and 250 club rentals in a year. So I did 200 rentals at $4,000 in revenue. Are we okay with that? Or do you want
I
it
think
less?
And
Let me just write that in red.
I always want more revenue, but
I know, but we don't know it, and we're
Yeah, the worst case scenario is you don't get it. It doesn't
is that one of the
reflect.
items that are gonna be in your
you
data?
know, I was literally just thinking that. I don't know if that's on there or not. I mean, go grab that stuff. We'll find out.
Well,
If it's on there, we'll have a little better
okay.
because
but club
TJ
rental
was
at one time was in the city's purview, was it not?
No.
Well,
I,
that
not.
was
We've
a
never
contract.
had it.
I don't know if it was in this 2022 data or not.
Mark this
Frankly,
as a point to go back and review and plug.
So I've put it in here. I said estimate 200 rentals at 4,000, but we could come back. So
and will a set of golf clubs of that quality last 200 rounds? Cool.
Well, we have more than one set.
More than one set.
Fair.
Right now, I think we've got a couple of adult, maybe
yeah, I'd have to look at what that was. Mayor, do you remember?
it's not
how
a
many-
bunch, but yeah,
It's
it's gonna be a
5
use and
left.
replace, but
Or 5 right?
I
2 left.
consider rental clubs
10, 14
kind of like I
sets.
consider a mower. It's a piece of equipment.
Agreed.
Loaning it out to people who are like a cart. That
What's
aren't
the
necessarily taking
depreciation
good
on it?
care of it.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll bring those back when we reconvene.
So we're coming back. However, we had an agenda item, which was an action on regarding the staff recommendations and plan to implement. So do we have an action on the staffing structure yet, or we don't?
Correct. Are we good with the staffing structure as presented?
that's this first one.
Very first topic. Yeah.
This right here,
Can I get a
Tiffany. This one.
yes? Yeah. Removing lessons off of it.
Removing lessons.
So it would be this.
613.
Removing the lessons split. Lessons still exist
Just
as part of the
revenue.
resolution and an offering. That's 100% revenue to the city.
correct.
So moved.
I know, that's what I was gonna say. That sounds great.
Yeah.
The second.
Sure.
You motioned that.
So, council,
Sure, I'll
there's
make that
action on
motion.
deliberation regarding staff's recommended plans of implementation of course operation and maintenance. What do I got? We got a motion.
So yes.
I was just throwing verbiage.
It was
out there.
great.
Oh.
So I said, just
All
say
right.
it again.
I'll take a swag at it.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Sanders.
I know we're supposed to be open.
Yeah.
You know, let's take a look.
So
I move the adoption of the proposed staff and salary structures for FY '27, removing pro lesson split 80-20.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do you want to?
Motion and seconded. Any further discussion? Councilman McCarthy.
clarification, since we talked about this in the structure, is your motion including with the golf professional being an exempt?
It already comes exempt is
You
the
can-
clarification in the.
You can ensure that it's exempt, and then you want the 100% revenue of lessons set in it too.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did remove the lessons.
So I just, for clarification,
Councilman,
motion or be inclined to amend to include that, since we are.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Sanders.
Make an amended motion. Bearing in mind that this is largely about the organizational structure, people we're talking. I move to adopt a proposed structure for staff and salaries FY27, removing that 80-20, identifying the new personnel position as exempt, and with the note that 100% of lesson revenue comes to the city.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Sanders.
Aye.
Councilman McCarthy.
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla.
Aye.
Councilman Harjo.
Aye.
Okay, meeting.
Extended.
Yes, so we'll go to lunch, we'll come back, we'll finish up. Public Works will be in present, but we'll just wrap up the pro shop stuff and then move forward.
So 1:30.
1:30.
Make
Thank
a
you.
Quick comment, because I've been playing with the numbers while we've all been playing with the numbers. And right now, until we come up to the determination on stuff around merchandise in the pro shop,